Alright, and we're live to the Dave's HadeNuFF show, episode 30. We have some old guests and some recent guests, and some guests that have been here, and pretty much everybody joined usually. How's it going, Guru?
Hey everybody, it's Yalu Lanugu, ready for Dave's podcast. I haven't been in one in a while, so it's good to be here.
Thank you for joining. How's it going, Old Dirty?
Yo, what's going on, Dave? What's going on, fellas? It's your boy, Dirty. About to do this again.
How's it going, Grapachi?
Yo, what's up?
How's it going, Levon?
Hi.
How's it going, Wolflug?
What's up, boys? I got a bullshit migraine, but it's all good.
Alright, pretty much today what we're going to be talking about, the topic is Nintendo Kiddy. We're going to talk about what happened to gaming from where it was to where it is now. We're going to talk about the Lizard Squad, I guess, because I just seen something on that their guest shut down, supposedly. And we're going to talk about the whole Tekken thing that's going on that Old Dirty knows about more than I do. He'll talk about that. And that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about. And anything else comes to mind, we'll talk about that. First, I guess the Lizard Squad, they've been shut down supposedly by the Finest Squad. That's the name who shut them down. According to some Twitter posts, the notorious Lizard Squad has been unmasked and dropped by another hacker group called the Finest Squad. They said this was a statement that they put on Twitter, the Finest Squad. We have successfully removed Lizard Squad from Twitter. You're welcome, fellow gamers. We will make sure their IRC stays offline. If these rumors prove to be true, hopefully the server attacks that have been going on the last few months will now come to an end. And there's more about that. If anybody wants to look at that article on N4G right now. And pretty much, yeah, I never really talked about the Lizard Squad too much. My problems with this is like people with no lives that just want to ruin things, just have nothing to do all day, and just want to fuck up shit for other people. And that's my thoughts pretty much on the subject. I think those people should be taken to a dark alley and executed. And that's just my thoughts. What do you think about it, Guru?
Well, I did make a video impersonating the Lizard Squad, like
Easy for him to say.
troll people, and like a lot of people. But as far as like Lizard Squad goes, like a lot of fanboys like to use them as ammunition to like, hey, Xbox Live is shutting down. Fuck Xbox. That's what a lot of PlayStation and Nintendo users will say. That it's pretty retarded, but yeah, Lizard Squad is a bunch of douchebags.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Old Dirty?
Just, a bunch of, grown people that don't have nothing else to do. They got a boring life, so this is how they get their excitement.
What about you, Grumpachi?
Same here. I mean, just people doing a bunch of crap for no reason. I mean, I don't see the point of why they do what they do.
Yeah, I never understood it. Why somebody'd want to ruin something that people enjoy. Like, is that they're 99% of the time these people are actually gamers themselves, but they want to go and ruin something for people that people have to enjoy in their life, and it's not right. I don't think. I think they should be using their talents to do a job of some sort or something like that. Maybe trying to help the government, hack into other stuff in the in like other countries, and gain intel or some shit. Don't fuck up gaming. Some things for people that they enjoy just because you're trying to prove that you can hack into that and ruin it, or just being a fucking prick and just ruin it. Most likely it's a big group of people using different computers and they're all hacking into Microsoft or whatever. And it's just, I don't know, I never liked that shit. But somebody talked to me one day, they said the whole point of hacking is to see, like a thrill to them to see if they can actually do it.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I knew a guy that could I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't know if I should say that. I'll just leave that out. But I knew somebody that was pretty good with all that stuff, and he actually had books, like underground books of how to do certain things that, because we were at my friend's house, and he was always into hacking and shit, and I was like, he would always tell us about that shit, and he pretty much says it's just trying to get into something to see if you can do it, just the thrill of it. But what do you think, Wolflo?
Yeah, I mean, they probably have other peer pressure from other people in the group too, and they want to they want to attack a certain group, like gamers, and obviously they're too pussy to actually attack the government, so they're going to attack someone like us, right?
Well,
It's a thrill for them, exactly. And bring me their heads.
Alright, so we covered that. Old Dirty, what's going on with this whole Tekken thing?
From what I've seen in a couple of comment sections on YouTube, basically it was some gamers, I don't know, maybe fans of Tekken, that was upset of this character that they revealed a couple of days ago called Lucky Chloe.
Yeah.
And she's basically a young female character. She got long pigtail. She got headphones on. She got like cat ears, what I'm saying, like the Mario. She got the cat hands, gloves that come all the way up, furry up to her elbows, and but she's in like a sexy outfit. But the way how she sounds, it sounds more like an anime, character, Japan character. And I guess they saying that she doesn't fit the Tekken series, but you go on Twitter and you tell the creator of Tekken at Namco that you hate the character, she doesn't belong in the game, and he writes back is, oh, okay, well, the U.S. just won't get her, she'll just be for Japan and the UK, and Australia and all them, because he said what I do is I'll make the character that the U.S. actually likes, which is a muscular male that's a skinhead. So basically, he's saying that's the type of characters that we like. And I'm not mad at him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at one bit of what he said, because this was just plain stupid. We got about 50 characters in Tekken. You mean to tell me this one new female character bothers you that much when you got fucking demons and angels and cyborgs and robots and bears and dinosaurs, and you tripping off a female character just because she sound like an anime, Japan cartoon? Like, really? Like, wow. These gaming, I'm telling you, man, like, the gaming community is sick. Not everybody. It's a handful. It's like they argue over dumb shit, and dumb shit for the wrong reasons.
I agree.
Roll call.
Yeah, it's really dumb. Like, when I saw the character, I was, I've been playing Tekken for a long time, and I'm like, this character actually fits into the game. Like, you got, like you said, you got lizards with boxing gloves, kangaroos, robots. It really, this is.
And devils, and Satan, and ogre.
You got a bunch of different characters.
Right, so they want to play with a panda bear. They want to play with a panda bear, but not with a girl with cat ears on.
See, that's the thing. All they gotta do is not pick her. Like, that's the thing I don't get. Just don't play as her.
That's the problem. The same thing I say. I'm like, it's it's a bunch of characters on Tekken, that I have never used. You know what I'm saying? Because I have my favorite. You know what I'm saying? My favorite out of everybody is Lei Wulong. And then I would go to martial law. You know what I'm saying? When I do see new characters that come into Tekken, yeah, I give them a try. You know what I'm saying? If I be like, this character don't really fit me as well, I'm going to go back to my original. And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to complain because they want to add characters. Now, if they never added characters out of 20 years Tekken been out, and we still had the same, whatever, 10, 15 character rosters, people will be outraged. So, this game been out 20 years. Why can't we get new characters? Like, I don't understand it.
But see, I wonder what this is going to do now. Like, if he makes a new character, is it going to fight? Because her fighting style looks interesting. I want to use her as a character. The thing is how is that going to work now for competition? Because if in Japan they got a character we ain't got, and they got it, I don't think that'll work too well.
Well, some people say he might have just been trolling us, saying that
I hope he is.
he's not going to put her in and put in a skinhead character because that's what we want, a muscular bound player, male character. But I mean, you never know. You know what I'm saying?
He might actually do it.
If you ask me, fighting games just need diverse characters in general. They just need a variety, or else what's the point of even making sequels if you aren't going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
You think it's just that people like to argue now? Gamers just like to argue about stuff and fight about stuff? Is Tekken exclusive to a console, or is it for every console?
It's for everyone. It's for Xbox One, and I hear it's even coming to PC.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I think it's just people. Like, you gotta remember, half these people that complain about stuff probably don't even play the games they're complaining about.
They just want
not
some
even fans. They just like complaining.
That absolutely is true.
Yeah, I mean that's my whole gripe about that, because I just literally put up a video on this before Dave hit me up for the podcast, and I'm like, these gamers are out complaining about a character in the game, but you won't open up your mouth, send anything on Twitter, or even threaten anybody like you threaten because Microsoft got exclusive rights to Tomb Raider. You won't do this shit when we get broken games every other week from these, from these companies. Or the online doesn't work day one. Online doesn't work a week later. The online doesn't work 2 weeks later. And we started getting patches and updates. You won't voice your opinion on that shit. But when a fucking character comes out that you don't like, that you find annoying, then it's all hell breaks loose. Now everybody want to open their mouth. They want to send tweets and death threats, to the developers and the people that's behind the voice characters and all. Like, I don't know what's wrong with this community, man. I really don't.
Just a bunch of whiners and criers.
Yeah, it's all people wanting to cry nowadays. They're very controversial about everything. It's like
they ain't very controversial over these broken games we've been getting lately, and we've been getting a lot of.
They are. I hear a lot about broken games that aren't even that broken or unplayable nowadays.
What about not the Nintendo games?
I hear a lot of people complaining about broken games that they've never even played. I hear that all the time.
Really?
I know a lot of people that complained about Destiny being broken, and then I asked them, did they play it? No.
What? The thing is, it takes away from the whole essence of gaming. It's like Miss K was saying. I mean, we're dwelling on all these tiny little things, like, oh, there's jaggies, and dude, we never used to pay attention to all that shit, and now it takes away from our experience.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, because when I play a game, the graphics must look beautiful. Oh, shit.
So
I mean, everybody wants a game that looks, that looks good. Nobody really wants an ugly game. You know what I'm saying? If you can have a game that looks ugly and plays well, you would want it to look good as well as the gameplay being good. You know what I'm saying? But I had Destiny day one and did not like it. You know what I'm saying? I felt robbed. I felt I was lied to. So I could say I can gripe about Destiny. You know what I'm saying? But other games like, we hearing about with Far Cry and Grand Theft Auto and all this, yeah, these are people that actually played the game, you know what I'm saying, that's saying that it's broken. But you don't see them actually going on Twitter, you know what I'm saying, threatening anybody over these games that's so-called broken. But
Far Cry's broken?
But when a character comes out that they don't like, now it's time to raise our voices, and I'm like, really? Like, why didn't y'all do this on these other games?
Oh, dirty! You play Far Cry though.
Yeah, I played Far Cry, but it was a 2-hour thing. You know what I'm saying? I heard people say that, I seen some things in Far Cry, like, there was animals floating and stuff like that. So the 2 hours I played with Ranting South African, I didn't see it. So I just can't say like, oh yeah, that game is broken. This is
No,
here.
that game is fine, man.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. People make these stories into these huge things, and it's not even. They're just making up truths about shit. And people actually take them serious. It's crazy.
Yep. Well, guess we covered that. Does anybody have anything to add on that, or?
Yeah, I seen somebody say the dumbest shit in the comment section. I mean, he got like 20 thumbs up, like the most fanboyish bullshit. And I'm like, what's wrong with this fucking community, dude?
The ghetto? You mean the ghetto side?
The whole thing, man. They're all over the place. They're on the forums, like most sites.
You like NeoGaf?
No, not NeoGaf as much, I don't think. But,
Okay.
most of the main media sites, like IGN and shit. Oh my
Oh, you mean like Kotaku, IGN, things like that?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
All right. I guess that anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Let's go.
Off gaming, looks like French Toast Crunch is coming back.
Oh, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Pretty much another thing that happened after Zelda was revealed at the Video Game Awards. They got 4,000
No.
4,000 people tweeted about it. So this pretty much means Zelda's still relevant, right?
Huh?
Zelda's always been relevant.
That's what these are like. These are the type of articles that people are writing about. Like, so this is the stuff that I never find really interesting, but this is a big topic, I guess. Zelda was tweeted 4,000 times at the Video Game Awards, and I would have assumed people would still like Zelda, so I don't know why they're finding that so hard to believe. But that was something else that ran through, and mainly I want to talk about. Well, does anybody have anything to say about that? Did you expect it not to be tweeted 40,000 times?
That seems like something to be expected.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Well, it was the first gameplay reveal of the game, so yeah.
Yeah. Now I have a question. I might have brought this up on the last podcast, and I don't really care too much about this, but it is in a way I do. Does Zelda look downgraded from what we've seen? Well, definitely looks different from the tech demo. We all can agree on that, I hope. But does it look downgraded from what we've seen at E3 to?
Not. It looks a little bit downgraded, but not to where it's like not too much. But
All they showed us was one area and then a trailer, and now they're showing you the first build that they're working on of the world, and it was off screen. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's downgraded. I can't even tell because it was off screen and everything.
You don't think Link looked different than what we saw the first time?
Well, that was a cutscene trailer. They actually showed us in-game visuals.
I like the cutscene.
I mean, it looks similar to me. I mean, like I said, I can't even get a good tell because one was off-screen play, the other was a trailer. You know what I'm saying? The one thing I can say though, at least, is that what they showed in the trailer is how the game is going to be played. Like Link could jump off his horse in middle of the air in slow motion and shoot his bow. So I mean, I don't know if it doesn't look downgraded to me. It looks exactly the same, really.
The reason I bring this up is because I hear a lot of stuff on the internet about Uncharted looking downgraded from literally.
Oh, that definitely looks downgraded.
From literally a CGI trailer. like, how could that be a downgrade? Like, I don't get it. Now, Zelda, they actually showed you what the environment's going to do, so I can get more of a judge of a downgrade from that than I can from a CGI trailer of Drake. I think. That's just my opinion.
I mean, but who's to say that video wasn't a CGI trailer either? I mean, they didn't say it was gameplay. when they first showed off Zelda, the very first time when the guy was talking, he just said, "Look at this field, and you can go in the distance and touch them." He didn't really say it was.
That was in-game engine.
Yeah, it was in game. Like Drake, like that thing of Drake getting off the ground. That was in game engine too. The thing where people are probably getting this whole
like. But how do you see that was in? I don't see how they're getting in-game engine from Drake up like a cutscene. I don't.
Yeah, it's in game.
That's what they said though.
Yeah, they said it was in game. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't like? Okay, when they say in game engine, they mean
like a cutscene. It looked like you were.
But yeah, that's what that means. Like, okay, in game.
Maybe I'm misinterpreting.
What they're saying by that is they're using the power of the PlayStation 4 to show you this engine. They're not using a computer to show you that remember when Drake was getting off the ground? That was all using the power of the PlayStation 4. That wasn't a CGI trailer that they made off of a computer. That's what they meant by that. Now, where people are getting that it's a downgrade could come from the fact that I was hearing from a lot of PlayStation fans that was gameplay footage. That's not what Sony said.
Because
so if you were like some people were telling people that, so I can understand if they feel it's a downgrade, but it's not just a trailer, really.
Well, I'll say this about it. What were you saying, Levon?
how they said it kind of fooled people, but a cutscene is still that in-game engine.
Well, whatever it was, it's still, I couldn't judge a downgrade or whatever from like him getting up from his like not knowing where he is. Like that just looked like something I'm gonna see maybe in a part of the game, like where it's gonna be a cutscene. But I get what Grimpachi's saying. I understand totally what he's saying. I never knew that. Good thing we have Grimpachi here. But I don't know. I don't understand. Like even Zelda, like I don't think it looks bad. I just don't think the look that they're going with Zelda with the cartoon look again, like they did with Wind Waker, because that's what it looks like to me. It looks very cartoony. That's cool. I learned to adapt to that. I didn't like it when they first did it with the GameCube, but I do like this new Zelda. Because it looks like Ocarina of Time too, with the horse and shit. And but the thing with Uncharted, you got people literally saying that game looks. I've heard people say that game looks bad. Like it looks like a PS3 game. Like I don't get where you would even think that if it was downgraded. Like that game looks beautiful. Like it does. I mean, I don't get some of it. This is the shit that people's talking about. Like it has been the Uncharted, it has been Zelda, and it has been the fucking Street Fighter and the Rise of Tomb Raider nonsense. That's all I hear all week long. Like you click on a video, mainly just about one of those topics. And
Let me guess. The same people that said that they don't care about resolution, right?
Yeah, it don't make any sense. That's what I'm trying to get with this like subject right here. Not picking at Zelda or nothing, like I do. It does look a little different than what we've seen for me, but I don't think it looks bad. It's definitely a game I'm buying day one, and same thing with Uncharted. But it's so weird how everybody's, like you look at the Uncharted thing and they're getting a downgrade from that. We didn't really see any gameplay until until the PlayStation experience. With Zelda, they gave us an idea what the environment's going to be like. So I looked at that kind of like a little bit of gameplay. Like that gave me more of an idea of something than the Uncharted of him getting up and like looking around, not knowing where he is. Like that was just like a cutscene. It seemed like. That's just me. But I don't understand all this like how people are so worried about if a game's downgraded all the time. Yeah, it's going to happen. But like last generation, we didn't go through any of this. Now it's like such a big thing to where, if they mention it, they mention it. But now it's like goes on forever. That's all I want to talk about. It's almost like ammo for them to fight against other fan bases, like whether it's Microsoft or Microsoft's attacking Sony. It's more of like a console war thing. So, what do you think about it?
It's like these people they want a big leap. They looking for a big jump, and that's what they was looking for. Like when we seen that trailer, at E3 of Drake, waking up and he looked older. You know what I'm saying? That's what people actually thought. Like, oh man, that's actual gameplay right there. It was nothing else. We didn't see any enemies. The camera didn't span back so you can see the rest of the world that he's in. It just focused on him up close.
Yeah.
And that's what we got, how he's actually going to look, in the game up close. Now, when the camera actually spans back so you can play the game, you're not going to get all that fully detail in your face because it has other environments that has detail to it. You know what I'm saying? Look at the detail, you know, when they were shooting at Drake. You know what I'm saying? You see how the rocks, the particles and everything was floating in the air from the bullets hitting the boulders he was hiding behind. Like, that shit wasn't in the PS3. You know what I'm saying? When you hit the enemies when they got wet, the water splashed off the guy's face when Drake hit him. We didn't get that in the PS3.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So what is everybody talking about? It's an early build game. You know what I'm saying? The game could get better. It don't come out until sometime next year. We don't have a release date. We just know it's probably next year. Shit, it could be 2016 when the game come out. We don't know.
Yeah, that's what I heard from Zaire.
I mean, people act like these two trailers we just seen. You know, people act like these two trailers we just seen from Uncharted 4 and Zelda. They act like it's like 80% complete or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
The one thing, you know, like this, it's almost like people are looking at cutscenes. Like it's almost like they're looking at cutscenes of Tomb Raider Definitive Version or whatever the fuck you want to call it, Tomb Raider the new one. Say they're looking at cutscenes of that. Are they expecting the game to be like the cutscenes?
Yeah, I think most people want the game to actually look like that, and you're not going to get that big leap jump. You're not going to get it.
Especially with Tomb Raider, like, because Tomb Raider is supposed to be on the 360.
Got a good lead PC to get to.
I'm just saying the Tomb Raider cutscenes, the definitive version. If people are looking at cutscenes like that, just for example, like they see cutscenes of Uncharted. If they're expecting the cutscenes of Uncharted to look like, you know, regular gameplay, they're fucking crazy. Same thing with Tomb Raider. If people looked at Tomb Raider, looked at cutscenes, oh, it should all look like that. No, that's the fucking cutscene, and there's the gameplay. You know,
people are expecting a zoomed out character to look exactly as detailed as a zoomed in character. They can't even tell the difference when they see it.
It's never gonna look as good as the cutscene. Like, you know what's a game I know Grimpachi don't like this game or whatever, but you know, they say that, and I see it too, in Shadow of Mordor, the cutscenes look similar to the actual gameplay. You know, that's like very rare.
Now hold on now. I didn't say I didn't like the game.
I'm just saying.
Oh, I just looked at that game yesterday too. It was pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's a game where you could actually, I could say, okay, the cutscenes look like the game. Like
yeah, the cutscene in the game look very similar.
Yeah, there are those occurrences, but a game like Tomb Raider, like I think the Tomb Raider, what I liked about it, I wasn't the hugest fan of the new Tomb Raider, biggest fan, correct my English or whatever, grammar. Pretty much the cutscenes is what made that game for me, because if it didn't have those cutscenes, to me it was just like a imitation of Uncharted. I didn't see that as like the old Tomb Raider. I grew up on Tomb Raider, and that wasn't Tomb Raider to me, but the cutscenes is what made it me want to keep playing the game to see what went on, and just how beautiful it looked. Like, you know, it was a good looking game, I'll give it that. But that's like, it had a good story to it, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's just crazy. People are going on everything. It's a teaser trailer. They can't go on that. Vexium, if you're watching the podcast, I'll send you an invite. I know you're trying to call into the podcast, but I'll send you well, maybe I could have accepted it and he would have came in, right? That's a dumb question, but I think that's what would have happened. I never had that happen. A phone call within the podcast happened. Wouldn't he just be able to join?
A Skype call conversation, dude?
I'm probably just out there.
Guys, I gotta get rolling. It's been good.
All right, buddy. I hope that migraine goes away.
Thanks a lot, man. Take care.
All right.
Bye, Wolflow.
Peace.
Let me see if I can get Vexium in here. Here it is. I'll send him an invite. But yeah, the whole thing with Tomb Raider, if they're, you know, like, that game had beautiful cutscenes, but I hope people aren't starting to expect the game to look like fucking cutscenes. I really hope not. I mean, but that's where it looks like it's going. Does anybody else have anything they want to add on this subject, or can we move on?
Yeah, I got one more. Stop getting your hopes too high.
Yeah, stop. Yeah, they need to stop getting their hopes too damn high. All right. Pretty much we covered a lot of stuff. I want to go into. Let's talk about, is Nintendo Kiddy? The reason I'm bringing this up is because me and Chrono Exosora, which is now ZLXV, we got in a big discussion with Big Dread, One Stop for Gamers, who else was in the call? Dustin Wheeler, and Sicilian, somebody I play with on PlayStation. You don't have a YouTube channel, but he's a good dude. All good dudes. We got in a discussion about Nintendo being Kiddy. Sicilian brought up what his logic of Nintendo being Kiddy was because of sales. He's like, Watch Dogs, Bayonetta 2, those games don't sell. What games sell? He says Mario, games like Zelda. So he used the theory, if the game sells, whatever game sells the most on the console, that defines your console. That's pretty much what he came out with. So that said to him, what if fucking Knack outsold everything on the PS4? Does that make it a Kiddy console because Knack's a Kiddy game? Or gives the imitation of a Kiddy game? That was his logic. I want to know, does everybody in this podcast, do you think that Nintendo is Kiddy, or do you find it not Kiddy?
I don't find it Kiddy, me personally.
I don't find it Kiddy.
I don't.
Nintendo Kiddy.
All right, thank you, LeVon. So you don't find it Kiddy, right?
No, I don't.
All right, so if you had the PlayStation 4 sitting right here, the Xbox One, and the Wii U, which one would be more of a kid's console?
Xbox One.
What makes the Xbox One a kid's console, more of a family-orientated kid's console?
The features themselves, really, the Skype and everything.
Okay, so you find that stuff more childish.
And not necessarily, but in a sense.
Okay, all right. What about you, Grimpachi? What do you think? Nintendo is just more kiddie in general, and the Wii U, and
No, not really. I mean, people say that Nintendo's kiddie, but when I was growing up playing Nintendo games, and even as I got older, I'm only 19, I still play them. I don't find it kiddie.
okay.
When I was a kid, I used to play Grand Theft Auto.
Mhm.
That make that kiddie? I guess so, by that logic.
Yeah, no, that's true. But pretty much the reason, like I said, I'm bringing up this subject, this was a big topic the other day when I was in this call. We went on about this probably for 2 hours. And I just wanted to see what people on the podcast thought about this. Like, you look at Nintendo as a kid's console. I look at them all as a kid's console. I look at all these consoles as a kid's toy, and we're actually grown children sometimes playing these consoles.
So we are man-childs?
Man-childs. That's exactly what I think. But I'm not saying it in a bad way, but you gotta take it. Take it like this. You've got a person that don't play video games, has a job, a very successful person. 99% of the time they see somebody playing a gaming console that's an adult, they're going to say that's a kid. That's a guy being a kid. Some people will say that. That I've seen.
I would say that back in the day, like at this point where everybody, at least for the most part, plays games on their phones, now gaming is just so common. It's a common medium.
Mm-hmm.
You might find the dudes that still say that or the people that say that, but it's just how you are. Like, if you're on here screaming and yelling at people because of what they like, yeah, you seem like a big kid. You know what I'm saying? Because that sounds like a childish thing to do. But, like, I don't know. Like, it just depends on how you are and how you carry yourself, whether or not you're a man-child, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm not. And these are all terms people use with this shit, like this subject, like that type of subject. Because what they were bringing up, too, in the call, Sicilian was bringing up, he takes, I'm not taking shots at nobody right now, so I don't want to make that out to be like that. I'm not taking shots at nobody. But he used Super Brothers as an example. He's like, look at that grown man with a Luigi hat on, pretty much celebrating Nintendo. And then they got into the conversation of, and I'm not taking shots at nobody. I'm not trying to start anything or no wars. This is just a conversation that's thrown around. You know, and I'm not saying this was Super Brothers he was mentioning, but would you want your children playing games with these kids, with these adults, like Mario Kart, uh, Super Smash Brothers? Like one person in the call had a problem with that. They're like, I wouldn't want to come home to see my child playing the Wii U with a grown man. You know, like I don't want to put any names out there, so I'm not trying to do that. But like an adult that's on YouTube, a lot of them that are all obsessed with Nintendo, he felt that was weird. But at the same time, you gotta look at it like this. Would you come home and you see your kid playing Call of Duty with another adult? Is that weird? That's why I looked at it. But what he's meaning with the whole Nintendo thing, just how the game itself is very, they give you the children's image or something, like more of a child's game. It just, he found it weird, a man so focused on Mario and whatever, you know, playing with kids, wanting to, you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but like you said, it also it doesn't make sense because like I said, I don't have kids. I'm only 19. I don't have children, so I wouldn't know how I would feel with kids. But like when I was growing up, my mom didn't want me playing violent games. My dad, he played games, played video games. So basically, anything he bought, that's what I had to play because when I was young, I didn't have a choice of what to play. It was whatever he purchased. So if he bought Grand Theft Auto, well, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. That's just what that was. So even when I got older, online gaming, talking to people, it never was a issue because it was like this form of my dad knew I wasn't stupid. He knows that I'm not just talking to anybody. So like if you're a parent, I wouldn't say, oh, I wouldn't want my child to play the Wii U because they might talk to some weird guy on the Wii U. I mean, as a parent, I'd say I don't want my child talking to any weird guy or female on any console. I don't care what it is. So I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen if that's what your concern is. But I wouldn't just shrunk it up to like, oh, the Wii U has that environment because for the most part, that doesn't make sense by logic because most games on Wii U first don't have voice chat. Second, um, even the ones that do are very limited. Like Nintendo goes out of their way to protect the younger audience anyway. Like Mario Kart, you could talk to people in the lobby, but when you play, like the actual race, you can't talk. So
Yeah.
I don't. It wouldn't be an issue really.
That is a very good point because they weren't even bringing that point up. Like
Nintendo's very protective of children in the first place. So you actually the Wii U. If you wanted a console that actually goes, there's parental controls. There's parental controls on the PS4, I'm pretty sure, and the Xbox One. But Nintendo themselves go out their way. Like they took Miiverse off of, I forgot what. They took the swap note thing off because of an incident in I think Asia. With a child and a grown man. Like so, Nintendo would actually be in your best interest as a parent. So that I don't know.
Good points. Very good points. No, I guess the question, does Nintendo look kiddie to you? Like, would you look at it, you would just say, oh, that's a child's console,
No, I don't look at Nintendo as a child's console because I'm older than all you guys in here, and I can tell you, for me growing up with the NES to now, Nintendo always said they was a family console. They always surrounded themselves as their console of being family. Now, when you do see Nintendo advertisements of games, what do you see? You see a family sitting in the living room actually playing together. But when you look at Xbox, what you see, one person with a controller with a headset talking to somebody on the internet.
Yeah.
So Nintendo always had that role. They was never out to be kiddie. I mean, half of these games that we're playing now started on Nintendo consoles.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So now that Nintendo doesn't have third party, now all of a sudden they kiddie now. You know what I'm saying? But I don't look at them that way. I look at them as a family.
A lot of people forgot games like Metal Gear and Castlevania and Street Fighter started out on a Nintendo console. I got a comment the other day. I don't know if the guy was you know, maybe weren't. I don't know. Maybe missed the point or something. He told me Street Fighter started out on a PlayStation One. You know,
No, that is far from
Yeah,
true.
that is
It
false.
started off in arcades.
It started off in the arcades, and it went to TurboGrafx 16, then it went to the NES.
because the first Street Fighter was in the arcade and it was Ryu and Ken and the Master, right?
Yep.
No, it was just
That's
Ryu.
yeah, it was
Ken.
It was
Ryu.
just
Yeah, yeah, hair,
It
didn't
was
he?
Ryu and Ken, and it got ported to the TurboGrafx 16 CDS Fighting Street.
Now, isn't that when Ryu had red hair and his hair was down or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
what was it? You were able to pick two characters or three? I thought you could pick his Master or something.
No. You can only pick Ryu and Ken.
Okay, maybe the Master was in the game though, like in the back, the background. I don't know. It's been a long time, but I remember it was only like two or three characters, something like that. If you all watched a movie called Juice, I don't know if you all seen that movie. It's an old hood movie. They actually in the movie Tupac's playing the original Street Fighter game. It's a long time ago. But see, I grew up when I started with Street Fighter was in the arcades, but not on that one. I started with the Street Fighter, I think it was 2, but that was the first game I got for the Super Nintendo. But I just was kind of baffled by that. He's like, it started out in the PS1. you know, no, it didn't start out on PlayStation. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up too. I don't know how we got in that, but the whole thing was, no, well, I guess how we got in that. Games like Street Fighter were on Nintendo. Like those are games that weren't considered kiddie at the time. Mortal Kombat wasn't considered kiddie, but yes, they did take the blood out of the Super Nintendo. But I always look at that as I don't look at it as a kiddie console, I look at it as a family console. It's more like for your local play. If you have to sit there and look at a console and say, hey, what's the console you still can play with your friends in the same room?
Nintendo.
But you got to look at it as when people bring up Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat didn't have no blood. True, but it was the better version. And what happened after Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate, Deadly Alliance, all of them had blood and fatalities. So you're talking about one Mortal Kombat game that was controversial back then coming to home consoles. That was just for arcades that did that.
For Famicom.
Yeah, so when you got a game like that, back in the day, like when I first seen Mortal Kombat in the arcades, I was like, damn! Like, I ain't never seen anything like that. One for getting their hearts ripped out. That was the first fatality I seen, was somebody playing this Kano ripping somebody's heart out. And the second one, I think, was Sub-Zero decapitating somebody with the spine still attached to their head. Like, come on, man. I'm like, Nintendo was scared of that shit. Like, a lot of controversy around that. You know what I'm saying? Like, parents and everybody and the government, they was all getting together like, what the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? With video games, because back then, video games were for kids. Everybody thought video games was kiddie, it's for kids, not grown folk. But now, it's more as you got more adults playing it than kids actually are. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
I mean, when people just bring that up, I'm like, okay, what about Mortal Kombat 2, 3, Ultimate, Deadly Alliance, all that? They had the blood put back in. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo seen it. They was like, okay, everything died down. Now with the sequel, go balls blazing, and that's what what I'm saying. Ed Boon them did with the with Mortal Kombat 2 and beyond on the different Nintendo consoles.
No, good points. What do you think of this, Guru? Do you think Nintendo is kiddie or?
I think people should just play what they want to play and enjoy it. And the shit where people go around quarreling, fighting each other over it is just retarded. And like, if you're really gonna get that deep into it, why don't you just, I don't know. Or if I don't see why people should go and feud with other people about it over the internet, especially. Like, I even get this I even get it from my own dad. Like my dad's a huge Xbox One fan, and I'm more into the Wii U personally. He's always going after me, trying to persecute me about it, basically saying, "Oh, you're just playing on a child system and stuff." And I'm like, and the irony of it is he'll go back and he'll play it with me. Like he's not afraid to go play Smash Brothers, which includes Kiddy characters. So it's just like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like clearly the game must be too damn good, so who cares?
Yeah. No, you have some great points. I get what I understand what your dad's saying. Like, some people do look at it as a child's console. Like, people hate to admit it, but they do. Like, there is adults out there that just look at Nintendo as something for kids. It's how it is. But my own personal thoughts, I look at all video games as for kids. Call of Duty, you get on Call of Duty, especially on Xbox, there ain't nothing but fucking kids in these rooms.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then again, it's like when you ask them, like, what's a valid point that make it Kiddy? Not your opinion, but a valid fact that make it Kiddy. Because I ran into the same thing when I was going to buy the PlayStation 4. When I told the guy behind the counter, I was like, yeah, I want to buy a PlayStation 4. The guy beside me that was in the store, he was like, oh man, good choice. I was like, oh, okay. So you got one? He was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know which one I want to get first, the Xbox One or the PS4. So I'm like, I'm going with the PS4 because, most of my friends have the 4. So I go ahead and get the 4 and get the Xbox One later. He's like, no, I don't get the Xbox One. It's garbage. I'm like, really? Yeah, man, it's garbage. I'm like, you got one? Nah. Wait a minute. So how you know it's garbage? So you listening to other people. You listen to other people tell you that the Xbox One is garbage, so you just pick it up along the way like, yeah, the Xbox One is garbage because nobody else I know has one, so it got to be garbage if they haven't picked up one. And I just looked at them like, if you don't have one, how can you state that it's garbage?
I remember.
And like I told him, I said, well, I mean, if it's garbage or not, I'm like, I'm still picking up one, you know what I'm saying, in a few months because, like I told him, I said, I own all the consoles. I even have a Wii U. So once I get the Xbox One, that'll complete all my consoles that's out right now. He just looked at me like, oh, wow, like, you game on everything? Yeah, I game on everything except PC. I never gave PC a try. Maybe I will in the future, but I game on everything. And he just gave me that look like, damn.
I feel like they just used the Kiddy.
Well, Nintendo
Used to just
not look at Nintendo back in the day.
downplay, like
if you grew up on Nintendo, like back in the day, I'm talking the NES days to now. Nintendo was not looked at as a kiddie console. It wasn't. It was definitely like your main. It was the main console half the time. Like you go to somebody's house, they had a Super Nintendo. It was, or they had a Sega. But it was more. I saw more people with Super Nintendo, and everybody was playing it. It wasn't. Oh, this console's kiddie. No, it was. That wasn't even the talk. Now with
nobody cared back then.
What now? What happened? I couldn't hear you.
I just probably nobody cared back then about it. There were too.
No, nobody. Just wasn't even it wasn't even a topic back then. It was like, you got to really understand, at that time we didn't really have nothing like this. Like Super Nintendo was like, wow, look at the controller. It has all these buttons. The graphics were better than the NES. Like, big step up from the NES to Super Nintendo. Because then the NES was just a little controller with a couple buttons. And then they brought in the fucking Super Nintendo with all these new buttons and everything, and the games looked better, and then you had the Sega. It wasn't like nobody was looking at that. Sega had Sonic. So Sonic was, if you look at Sonic nowadays, he's labeled as a kid's game. A lot of people label that as a kid's game. And you look at the Sonic Boom, how they're doing like a cartoon. It wasn't, back in the day, it was looked at more of like, it was something cool. Like, now people have so many different outlooks of it. It's not just one outlook. It's weird. Those days it wasn't perpetrated as like a kid's console, but then you did have the adults that didn't play, games that actually thought of it as like a toy, like something like that. So it was looked at like that, but not like it is nowadays, Nintendo. Nintendo, with all their colors in their games and stuff, are interpreted as a children's game or something like that. But then, you bring up the argument, if you play a game like Donkey Kong or Pikmin, are those games harder than some of the games that are on PlayStation consoles and Xbox consoles?
Yeah, because
yeah, they are hard. Yeah.
yeah, I guarantee you, these so-called hardcore gamers that say Nintendo games are kiddie, yeah, let them play Pikmin 3. I actually like to see them achieve one, you know what I'm saying, one strategy in that game that they need to complete. I would like to see them do it. They'll be throwing the controller
Even
down.
non-Nintendo games that are kiddie in concept, they on Nintendo, like say Little Big Planet, those are pretty damn complicated games to go and play. They're not that I think they created those more with like geniuses in mind, with who want to get creative, do something cool. And it's not there are tools in those type of some of these key games. They're not just simple.
I
You
mean,
gotta use your brain,
I don't know a game
and
that
it's not just for kids.
I don't know a game that can be enjoyed by both parties pretty much. I mean, like I said, when I was growing up, I played Grand Theft Auto, but at the same time, what kid wouldn't want to play Grand Theft Auto? People will say Grand Theft Auto's not kiddie, but I mean, what makes it kiddie? Who's playing it or the subject matter? I mean, who knows? It's really an opinion, to be honest.
Some people say it's the M-rated thing on the game. That makes an adult.
Well, there's nothing mature about Saints Row at all. I love the Saints Row games, but I mean, it's rated M for mature. It's not mature at all. It's really that game will speak to children because kids like dumb stuff. I mean, that game's pretty dumb. Like it's fun.
They
I like it.
do have gay sex in Saints Row. Like, I don't know. I can see where people, like, they don't show it, but he does. I don't know. I get what you're saying, though, how it does, it's immature game, but at the same time, it does show certain things that have to do with to do with adults, like Grand Theft Auto. You're getting a blowjob in a fucking car. I mean,
But when I was playing Grand Theft Auto as a kid, I mean, even though I was a kid, I wasn't a stupid kid. I knew what was going on, maybe not to the full extent, because I'm still a kid. I was probably playing Grand Theft Auto. I was like, what, 6 or 7 years old. I mean, I didn't completely understand. Oh, this is a blowjob. I just knew it was funny that the car was shaking when I got in the car with a prostitute. That was funny. I didn't really get it. My cousins did. They were older, but I mean, kids don't care. They'll play that anyway. Like the whole kiddie thing. That's like a really weird argument, because I could sit here and say, what are those games? Those Lego games? They're kiddie, but they're Legos.
mm-hmm.
But do you think it really, like, especially if you play like the Star Wars and Indiana Jones, a kid's not going to get half those characters or jokes because first off, the people who watch those movies and stuff, are probably old. I'm not saying they're like old, but like probably like 30, 40, maybe 50 years old. They're gonna get the jokes. They're gonna understand the references. A kid isn't. They're just gonna understand it's a Lego. It's Legos. So it's always that balance. Like kids like running around in Grand Theft Auto shooting people, but an adult will probably appreciate the story more. You know what I'm saying? So
now you don't. Now Sicilian, he's messaging me on the PS4 right now. He says Wii U has Happy Meal toys for memory cards. LOL.
What? That doesn't make sense. Using SD cards.
What he's getting at probably is the amiibos. That's another thing. Does that make the console childish because they have little amiibos that you can?
Oh.
Well, then I guess the PS4 is childish because it has the Skylanders and Disney Infinity.
Right.
So
What they have, but why would Sony have? Don't Sony and Microsoft have that too?
They have what do you call it? They have Skylanders. They have Disney Infinity. They got Sackboys. They got Mac. I mean,
These things enhance the game.
What game did everybody scream about they wanted for the PlayStation experience to come back? Crash Bandicoot.
Yep.
It was no kid of this, no kids nowadays probably even knows who the hell Crash Bandicoot is. It's probably grown adults. Yeah, you may know, but I'm saying like most young kids, they probably don't even know who Crash is. So most people asking for that were probably adults. So that kind of doesn't make sense either.
And like what you just said, and I brought up yesterday, I just remembered this. a lot of people don't realize that Crash Bandicoot was almost the face of PlayStation. He was almost their mascot at one. He pretty much was their mascot at one time.
Yeah, he was.
He
And
should
we're
have stayed that way.
and you
Yeah,
know
thing.
Sicilian's argument where he brought up sales and stuff. Say the new Crash Bandicoot rolled out and that's the top selling game on the PS4 and they start bundling it with that bitch. Does that mean that console's a kiddie console now?
You said they should have bundled it or had Crash Bandicoot on there.
Well, I'm just saying, like, say that happened, and that there's a good chance if that game rolled out, it'd probably be one of the top selling exclusives on the PS4. It could happen. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying if that's the case, his logic, that would make that a kid's console because that's like a kid-oriented game in a way too, just like Mario. It's very similar to Mario, Donkey Kong in its own way.
One of the reasons why I hate Activision is because they bought Crash Bandicoot, and I hate companies that just buy franchises and they don't even use them.
Right up till like around 2009, and then the series took a shit, and you never saw Crash again.
Yeah, Activision destroyed that series.
Yeah, I always liked Crash Bandicoot. I thought it was cool.
I consider Twinsanity the last good one.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny? The guy. This is something I just noticed too. The guy that brought this whole argument up the other day. What do you think his avatar is on PlayStation?
It's Crash Bandicoot. I know who Sicilian is.
I just noticed that his avatar is Crash Bandicoot. So it's just funny. I just wanted to bring this up. It's just a topic we were talking about. I want to get everybody's opinion. Now, the corrupt gamer, you were Sheik, right? Or
it's Strike Zero.
Right, that's it. I could get your name mixed up. But how you doing today, man?
Doing good. Don't mean to cut you off, but the whole thing with people thinking Nintendo out of the three, I want to know why people think Nintendo, is the one that's more kid friendly. Because I don't think Nintendo's kiddie at all. They're for everyone, and it's been proven that ages teens through adults that play Nintendo than more than kids. You have a whole bunch of kids playing games like Call of Duty and what was it? Yeah, Nintendo focused on the more kid friendly on the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony and Microsoft also tried doing something with that, with the Kinect and the PS Move. So, and that was supposed to draw, more casuals, kid-friendly families in. So that's what I gotta say about that.
I mean, I don't feel Nintendo's kiddie. I mean, seeing as Nintendo probably last generation probably had the most violent video game I probably ever played last gen. They had Mad World, and they also had like very inappropriate
Don't forget No More Heroes, No More Heroes 2.
They had
yeah, Nintendo doesn't just make rated E games, they also have rated M games. Like they have Internal Darkness on the GameCube, that's rated M. They got what else? Gaius was another one on the GameCube. They had, sorry, what was that?
It was Gaius.
Everyone rated.
Gaius. They also had Conker's Bad Fur Day.
But the Wii had. I remember playing Godfather on my Wii, playing Scarface on my Wii. There's a lot of M-rated games that Nintendo has. It's just people.
Now look at this too. The version of Manhunt 2 on the Wii was pretty much censored.
No, it was censored on every version in the United States of America.
Oh well, okay, maybe I got that wrong.
Yeah. Was it censored on the PS2 version?
Yeah, I believe it was. I mean, from what I remember, it was censored everywhere because Manhunt 1 was very controversial. Manhunt 2 got worse. Like they really, they went all out with that one. Because even on the PC, if you try to play Manhunt 2, you have to mod it so it won't be censored. It's going to blur everything. There's certain countries where it's not censored.
But the whole thing with this, what you guys brought up some great games like Geist and Manhunt and everything. But you got to take a step back and look at people that aren't gamers or that hardcore into it. They don't see Geist. They don't see Manhunt 2. When they hear PlayStation, mainly they're seeing God of War, maybe Uncharted, maybe Crash Bandicoot from back in the day. When they see Microsoft, they're most likely thinking Halo or Gears of War. When people see Nintendo, there's one word and one word only: Mario. And that's where people are getting, I think it's a very, childish console, because a lot of people think Mario is childish. They always have and always will. You can't change that, can't do nothing about it. And I think their main franchises are more, it's because they're for everybody, but they're more looked at, they're not looked at like, Mario's not running around with an AK-47 blowing everybody away. It's just not happening. But when you look at, Sony, you got Kratos fucking ripping people's heads off. You got Halo. They look at that's where I think they're getting this whole argument of games.
Stuff like that.
So I mean, a lot of people don't want to accept it, but I could see why a lot of people.
No, Gray's good skip. Yeah.
But
A game
guys,
with guns in it.
As far as I see.
What is it? How do I say it? So people think just because a game has guns in it, it makes it hardcore.
honestly, if you watch the
That's a really stupid reason.
I mean, but see, that's the thing that doesn't make sense because Shokyo made this argument a long time ago, which is very true. Like, aren't guns for kids? When I was young, I used to run outside and put my finger at the gun and play cops and robbers. I mean, like I said, like guns don't mean
water guns a lot.
water guns, pellet guns.
Yeah.
all right, now go take your water guns and bring them to school nowadays.
You couldn't bring water guns to school, I don't think, at any given time, really.
Don't bring any.
You would get in trouble regardless.
How much trouble I got as a kid bringing toy guns to school? When I was little, I had a bunch of toy
How long
guns.
is that going to be?
I mean, yeah, that's true, but what I'm saying is that doesn't negate the fact that kids like guns, you know what I'm saying?
People, if everybody wants to deny this, they can. I don't care. But people look at
Well, and also,
as an adult game because it has guns and violence and killing in it.
you bring me.
No, that's fine, but what I'm saying is that doesn't, to me, doesn't make too much sense because kids like violence.
That would be really good.
Just probably as much as adults.
No, I'm just saying that's the argument they got why, Nintendo, when you look at Mario, you're jumping on Goombas, you're fucking jumping for the star. It's all more family-orientated game compared to something like Grand Theft Auto. Okay, if you gotta take it like this. If you're gonna sit down with a family, like say a family's sitting there, let's look at a commercial, for example. Say we saw a commercial of a family playing Grand Theft Auto with their kids and fucking hookers getting blowjobs. Okay, then let's change that commercial to Mario. Which one would look more better for that commercial?
Probably Mario.
Yeah, okay, but that's where people are getting at it with. I see where their argument is, but I'm with you. I understand. I think it's for everybody because I grew up on that shit.
Well, what's their definition of a hardcore game? Just games with guns in it?
No, a hardcore game to me would be like Zelda.
Yeah, that's what is it? That's not a kiddie game. That's a game for like all Nintendo games. They're rated E. They're for everyone. They're not just made for kids.
Why they're saying they're kiddie, because it does give the impression it is kiddie, but it don't mean just because it gives the impression it is kiddie that it is kiddie. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Look at a game like Xenoblade. That's not a game.
Massive, expansive, and complex.
Yeah, and you got to think too. A lot of people don't know the game Xenoblade except hardcore gamers. Like a lot of
Xenoblade could be labeled as kiddie if you want to label. I mean, anything could be labeled as kiddie. I mean,
no, I'm just that's
you could label Little Big Planet 3 as kiddie, I guess.
So exactly.
You can label Grand Theft Auto as kiddie in a
But
way.
the whole argument to this whole thing is what console, like is Nintendo looked at as a kiddie console? Do you look at it? So mainly all your answers are no, right?
I definitely would say no because one of the main reasons I say no, first of all, most gamers nowadays think the most minor, like the smallest thing in a game makes it hard. I don't think a kid is gonna be able to play Pikmin and win. I don't think a kid's gonna be able to play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and win. Maybe Mario, maybe. But like when kids struggle to beat Super Mario Brothers, the original, I don't think they're gonna be able to beat New Super Mario Brothers U. They act like that's a problem for them. So I never heard a kid complaining they couldn't beat Grand Theft Auto. It's not hard to do that. You just lock on and shoot. So, I mean, I don't know how that would turn out. But if you ask a kid nowadays, they wouldn't tell you they wanted a Wii U because most kids don't play those games. They play Grand Theft Auto, they play Call of Duty, they play those types of games.
Why do you
play 2K?
I have a question.
Or kids are playing the mainstream games that are out there now.
Well, this falls under another question. Okay, but I don't know how to ask this question, but I'm going to put it out there however. Alright, a kid wants to play Grand Theft Auto and stuff, and I'll sit here and say this, I get the damn kid right now. I'm not coming out to try to, say, I don't know, I don't want to word it wrong. But some of my past experience that I had, I watch a child from every once in a while, his mom, she might have to go to work, he stays with me if I'm home. He likes to play Call of Duty. I'm into Nintendo. I've always been. I had got Donkey Kong at the time, and I was like, "Hey, Ethan, do you want to play Donkey Kong?" And he looks at me like this. He goes, "What are you doing playing kiddie games, Dave?" He said that just like that. I had a little kid, a little 7-year-old. Why am I playing? So.
That's how it goes. Like when you're a kid, you want to be an adult.
Right.
When you're old, I mean, I'm not one of those people that say when I'm older, I want to be a kid. No, when I'm older, I do stuff that I enjoy. So, hey.
And the thing is, with that argument, I think a lot of kids too, why they like to play Grand Theft Auto. I'm not saying all of them, or Call of Duty. It's because it makes them feel like an adult, or they want to do what adults do. They think adults play those games, so they want to play them instead of games like Mario or Donkey Kong in that case. But when he was playing Donkey Kong, he couldn't get past the boss or nothing. Barely could play the game. He could barely play. He could play Call of Duty. That don't make any sense. It makes sense because it's a harder game. Believe it or not.
He's calling it a kiddie game, but he can't pass the first boss.
Yeah.
You know what I don't get though is how people associate the E rating with kiddie when there's a lot of E-rated games, take Zelda for example. I'm pretty sure Ocarina of Time had blood, and I'm pretty sure I've seen even E-rated games. Some of them even had language, so I'm not sure where that association comes from.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was a good topic. I enjoyed talking about it, and I just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to get your guys' thoughts and see where it went. Just give a discussion about it. If you have anything else you want to add to this discussion, I'm gonna go on to the next one.
Oh, I think that the kiddie argument is it started with the 7th generation. I never heard anything about Xbox or the PS2 era going after the GameCube for being kiddie. It started with the Wii.
I'd hate to keep the conversation going, but I'm gonna. Where I think Nintendo steered in that direction of being more childish was the GameCube era. That's where I thought. I at the time was one of those kids that looked at it like it was kiddie. Believe it or not, I looked at it. When I saw what they did to Zelda, made it more cartoony and stuff, well, I wasn't a kid. I don't know. I was probably a teenager then. I just remember saying I wouldn't play that game. I thought they ruined Zelda. I was like, they turned it, because that was the time they had Luigi's Mansion, Mario Sunshine. It was just more, their franchises went more childish, it seemed like, at the time. But, After playing Wind Waker HD on the Wii U, I looked past that.
Actually, Wind Waker back then, in the GameCube era, it got so many complaints. Nintendo made another Legend of Zelda game. Have you heard of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess?
Well, that was a big discussion. That was probably where a lot of it started for Nintendo, was with Wind Waker when they cartoony, because Zelda was always like kind of a game a lot of people played. It was hard and it was challenging, and some people looked at that as a really hardcore game. And then when you had it turn into like a cartoon, that's where like a lot of those arguments started.
Yeah, but they also made another Legend of Zelda game called Twilight Princess.
I think a lot of people like
That's one of the darkest ones.
They didn't like Twilight Princess because when they first showed Zelda on the GameCube, it was like a little trailer. Link looked really real. Ganondorf looked realistic. You know, they looked like real people. They didn't look cartoony, and they were fighting. I think that was at Space World or something like that, and that's what they showed. And that was supposed to be like the concept for the new Zelda game. But then when they showed the new Zelda game, it was Wind Waker. That's when a lot of people were like, "This is not what I thought this was going to be. It's real cartoony." You know, they didn't like that. You know.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is they kind of fixed that during the GameCube era, because yes, a lot of people complained Wind Waker was too cartoony. So Nintendo gave what the fans wanted, and they made another Legend Zelda game on the GameCube called Twilight Princess, a completely different game than Wind Waker. Search it up if you never heard of it.
I heard of it.
It's one of the best.
When Wind Waker came out, I mean, pretty much the GameCube generation was over. I mean, not Wind Waker, damn Twilight Princess. I mean,
Yeah, you said they released Twilight Princess on the GameCube and Wii U when the Wii U launched. So
on the Wii, yeah, it was pretty much over at that point. The GameCube was pretty much done.
Yep.
Most people didn't even probably play it on the GameCube. They probably played it on the Wii.
Now, Dave, why do you think the GameCube is?
That was when, to me, Nintendo steered more in the children's direction. Like they got more. It's a lot of those games look more. You gotta take it, man. I grew up on. That's where I could agree with this argument. I see where people are getting at it, but when like to me, it don't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do what I do, and that's that. It don't matter. What I could see where people were getting at with that argument, I was disappointed in Nintendo at that time. I was like, they're turning they just seem like, you know, you're coming from the Super Nintendo, the N64. The N64 had Turok, GoldenEye. Yeah, they had some kids games like Banjo and Kazooie, but it wasn't like when you hit the GameCube and you seen like Mario Sunshine, and you're coming from like Mario 64, and it just looked, and Super Nintendo where we had all kinds of games, you know, and the GameCube just seemed like for Nintendo that's where they steered in that direction, and I was always been a big fan of Zelda, and I didn't like what they did. Do I like Wind Waker? Yes, I do. I like it now that I gave it a chance on the Wii U, but I thought they ruined it at that time. I actually stopped playing on Nintendo consoles at that time. That was it for me for Nintendo. I skipped the Wii, and then the Wii U I thought was going to be the Super Nintendo, and then, you know, having the Wii U, even though they didn't get third party and it wasn't nothing like Super Nintendo, I ended up liking it. I got back into Nintendo again.
Strange you think that, because, you know, like I said, we got Eternal Darkness, we got Gaius, we got
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah,
you had Metal Gear Twin Snakes on the GameCube. And I still have that game.
If you were around that generation, that was a big argument, and nobody.
We also had, sorry to cut you off, but we also had a remake of the original Resident Evil. We also.
The thing is, their franchise, which you're missing the point, their franchises became more. It just seemed like their main games became little. That was a big game, Zelda, dude. And you can't. And a lot of people got disappointed on that. I know a lot of people stopped gaming on Nintendo because of that reason at that time.
Wind Waker, right?
Yeah, Wind Waker. That was the one. That was the game people got upset about. Like,
but did you like Twilight Princess?
I didn't play Twilight Princess. I didn't play that one. I was a big fan of the original Zelda games, and my favorite one was A Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time.
Twilight Princess is more for the it was dedicated to the more hardcore fan base.
And you got to think too. At that time, you had Xbox that rolled out. You had PS2. You know, with Nintendo doing that, in that generation, I was all into the Xbox. I loved the line, and I didn't like the direction Nintendo was going. I've made videos about some of my earlier videos, if they're still on there. The one of Zelda I made, I talked all about how I didn't like when that happened, but I know there was games like, one of my favorite games was Resident Evil 4. Yeah, that was on there, but if you look at a lot of the Nintendo games, they went more childish. And that's where a lot of people started that shit with Nintendo being Kiddy and all that stuff. The Wii is what put it in full effect. The Wii fucking brought that shit right in full effect. And now it's, it is what it is.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people that, got into the Wii, you know what I'm saying? The Wii was hyped up, and a lot of people was like, there was no good games on the Wii. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yes, it was. Like, it was a lot of good games on the Wii, and they just wasn't, E for everyone. There was teen, there was mature games. Like, if you had the Wii and you had the 360 or the PS3 to go with your Wii, then you wasn't looking for those games on the Wii. You wasn't trying to find those games. Like, there's a lot of good-ass games that a lot of people missed that owned the Wii or got rid of their Wii just because of the 360 and PS3. I'm talking about some good-ass games that hardcore gamers would would die to play. Because I remember when, what was it called? What's that?
Oh, I was just mentioning. There's some of my personal favorites that I picked up. I even have Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, but yeah, I even have Okami. That's one that a lot of people missed, even on the PS2.
Yeah, like Demon Blade. You had Mad World on there.
Conduit.
But Nintendo's not pushing their consoles with those games. That's where other people forget to remember. How many commercials did we have on Geist? How many commercials did we have on Resident Evil 4? How many commercials did we have of Mario Sunshine now? How many times did we have commercials of Luigi's Mansion? How many commercials did we have?
Well, I'll tell you this. When it comes to the Wii, I remember a lot of commercials with Red Steel, a lot of commercials with games like Spider-Man, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Conduit.
And the Conduit, definitely, like in the 007 GoldenEye. There were a lot of commercials for the Wii back in the day.
Yeah.
Obviously you had your Nintendo commercials like the Donkey Kong, the Mario Galaxy, stuff like that. But there were commercials for like those violent games. There were Mad World commercials, No More Hero commercials.
Where? Of Mad World?
Yep, I remember the first time I saw Mad World was on TV.
Even the GoldenEye remake had commercials.
I'm talking about the GameCube. There was no commercials.
GameCube? Oh, they said we.
There's no commercials of Eternal Darkness. There was no There might have been a commercial for Resident Evil 4. That, of course, I think there was a commercial. But what I'm trying to get at, the reason why a lot of people thought that was real kiddie, a lot of the games they were promoting were the games like Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Wind Waker. Those were the games. Double Dash, Mario Kart Double. Those were the ones we were seeing commercials for. Now, Mad World, when you come and all that, I didn't know what Mad World was until I came on YouTube. I never saw a commercial for Mad World. Never. Red Steel I did, but not Mad World. But I was never into the Wii. The Wii I completely skipped. I didn't like the whole motion control, so I really wasn't looking out for that either. I wasn't
Same here. I skipped the Wii because of motion controls.
The boxing and shit and all that stuff when they were promoting it. And Zelda was a commercial because that was one of the games they released with it. But the point what I was trying to make is it's just they promoted it that way too. It wasn't like if there was a commercial for Geist or Eternal Darkness and I missed it. I don't know. Just at that time I remember people was saying Nintendo steered in a different direction because I was asking people, I had a lot of friends that, we grew up on the Super Nintendo. I was like, why aren't you playing Nintendo more? They're like, they went more childish. And you're at that age, you're a teenager, you're not in high school. A lot of them weren't in high school playing fucking Nintendo. They thought it was a cool. I guess it falls under the cool thing. Like you were playing Xbox because that had, Halo and all those games, which could be looked at as kids' games too. Like I look at it all as it's all entertainment for everybody, but it is. Nintendo does fall under the more. If you are going to call a kiddie console, I would say that would be the kiddie console of things. But like a hardcore gamer is going to go and nitpick everything and say, oh well, this game's on this got Bayonetta 2. You can do that too. But the actual person just looking out from looking in the window, that's what they see.
But how many of Nintendo's games are actually like the games that they own are actually for kids or kid friendly? A lot of their games have a cartoony art style, but how many of those games are for kids?
Not a whole lot of them.
Well, they do. I mean, I don't know. If you go to certain places too to buy the consoles, it is like the Nintendo section has amiibos sitting right next to it. It has, all the games they're promoting the consoles with are more of the. I see where people are getting it. Do I think it is like, do I care if it's for kids or whatever, or whoever? No. I'm going to play Nintendo regardless. But the argument, I see where people get that. I do see where people get that. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, if you had an Xbox sitting there, PS4 or Wii U, and somebody would say, which one would you choose for kids? What would you say if you had kids?
If I had kids?
Would you want to?
Do I know anything about gaming, or I'm just a parent?
If you don't know nothing about gaming.
If I don't know nothing about gaming, I honestly probably just give what my kid asked for. If I didn't know nothing about gaming.
Well, what if you were at the store and you weren't with your kid?
I want with my kid. I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but
no,
if I'm not a gamer and I don't want no game, and I got children and I'm going to a game store, hey, if I'm not a gamer, it wouldn't be a reason for me to walk in there. My kid must want something. It must be something I know they want. I wouldn't just. But the reason I'm saying that is because, like I said, I have younger cousins, nephews, and none of them want a damn Wii U. Like they play on Android tablets and stuff. But if you ask them what console they want, they'll say a PlayStation 4. Or Xbox. They won't say nothing about no Wii U.
Yeah, because they're most likely wanting to play the games where you shoot people and stuff, and they think of that as more of an adult game. Kids even that's where you're missing the argument too. I can bring a kid down here right now, and he'll tell you that Nintendo's kiddie. He'll tell you that. A 7-year-old.
Like the 7-year-old.
A 7-year-old.
Why would it?
No, I'm just saying, like, even kids think that. Maybe they want to be...
Yeah, a 7-year-old would tell you, like,
but then again, I think a 7-year-old would tell you anything that looks like a cartoon is probably kid. Like, I'm pretty sure if you gave a 7-year-old Sunset Overdrive, he'll probably say it looks kiddie because it's cartoony.
Well, I don't know about sight. I'll probably have to do a video about this. I'll have to get Ethan down here. It's just, I understand where people are coming with the argument. It's just, this is always a topic, too, on YouTube that people love to talk about, and I see the comment sections just rolling with all the comments.
But we do.
And it's just something I wanted to bring up, too. Everybody has a different outlook. I respect everybody's opinion. I see where you're all coming from. But like what I was saying before, say you're a parent, you're going there, and you don't know much about games, and you're buying it for your 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and you see The Last of Us PS4 bundle, Mario Kart Wii U bundle, and Halo the Master Chief Collection with the Xbox One. Which one would you think at 99% of the time they're going to pick for a kid?
The Wii U.
Thank you. That's
so powerful.
I can tell you this, Dave, that with my sister, my 9-year-old nephew, now, he has a Wii, and he has a 3DS. She don't like him playing violent video games, especially like when they come to my house, she don't want him playing, Grand Theft Auto, she don't want him playing Mortal Kombat, and I understand that, and he does not play that when he's here. Even if she's not here, I do not let him play it because out of respect for my sisters. Now, she asked me, she said, should I get him, the newest Xbox or the Xbox 360? I said, well, you got to look at what games you want him to play. I would say get him a Wii U because even though there's still violent games on the Wii U, there's still games for his age than it is the PS4. Like, what games, if she buy a PS4 right now, what games can he play besides that?
Probably like Disney and Skylanders, that's probably Lego games. That'd be
Probably
it.
the Lego game.
Right. So I would tell her, hey, before she got his Wii like 3 years ago, I told her, I said, you know what, get him a Wii, because I'm like, with the 360 and PS3, you don't like him playing violent video games. And I don't know too many of Lego games that's out. I know it's some, but with Nintendo, you have more variety of games than just violent games that you can choose from for him to play.
Mm-hmm.
So get him a Wii. You know what I'm saying? He can pick up those, Batman Lego games and all that. You know what I'm saying? And then when he get older, you know what I'm saying, and you want him to start playing those violent games, you know what I'm saying, then, you can move to another console that has those violent games, plus, the games for his age. But for right now, I told him, like, just get him a Wii U. Because there's nothing on the PS4 and Xbox One that you're going to actually let him play. Besides that. So you're going to go out and pay a $400 system just for one game.
For one game, when you can get a Nintendo console with fucking Nintendo Land, Wind Waker HD, which is all, like, even if the kid can't figure out that game, it's still, you'd rather have him running around with Link, hitting people with his sword, not showing blood really, or nothing like that, instead of going around The Last of Us and blowing somebody's head off.
Now, what he's saying is very true, but the other statement is this. Like, I don't know about his nephew, but like I said, like my cousins, they have the Wii U. Then their father has the PS4. Do they use their Wii U? No, it's just sitting there. Like that's the other thing. Like, the parent may want it, their child to have it. Is the child gonna use it? I don't know. Depends on the child. Like my
mindset of the child.
They don't use. My nephew doesn't use that damn thing.
Well,
don't use theirs either.
Well, with my nephew, he knows when he comes here, you know what I'm saying, violent games are off. You know what I'm saying? I do have a lot of violent games, but I do have, games that he can play that's, that's not so violent, or got the cursing or the blood and chopping off limbs and shit like that.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, when I say go with Nintendo, is because Nintendo does have the violent games, but it also have more variety of other games that the other two don't have, if you want your child to not be pulled into those type of games just yet. You know what I'm saying? Why would you want your 7-year-old to sit there and play Grand Theft Auto, and a hooker may come up to the car and get in, and he and her moan in the car going up and down at the age of 7? You know what I'm saying? I would rather for him to be like, I would rather him or her to play a game, like Skylanders, you know what I'm saying, some type of Donkey Kong or something like that. Even though Nintendo still have mature games, but they have a variety of other games also. E is for everybody. T is for teens, not just 95% of mature games that, I don't want my son or daughter to play. That's why I say go with Nintendo, because there's different variety of games on that console. Not everything is just mature and blood.
No, this is a question, not for you, but anybody that has a kid or whatever. Would you let your kid play Destiny?
It depends.
I don't know. I don't think that one's that
That's
bad.
an M-rated game. When I play it, I don't really see blood, to my knowledge.
Yeah, I would.
You're just shooting aliens, really.
I would let him play.
Yeah, I don't think that game is that bad.
I think maybe that's why a lot of people say that Nintendo consoles are Kiddy, because Nintendo consoles have more variety of games than the other two companies.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the other two companies, they have more, teen-rated games and M-rated games. And Nintendo have those games, but they have more of the other. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They, like they said, Nintendo say they are more family, oriented. So that's what they want. They want family play together. You know what I'm saying? What family, actually sit around you know what I'm saying, in the living room and play Grand Theft Auto and cheer like, hey, pick up that prostitute, yeah, there you go. Like, no,
Hey, we
nobody
were
do
when I was
that.
growing up. We weren't doing that. We were more like just going around killing each other. I mean, killing people, blowing up cars.
Right. So that's why I tell her, like, you know, for right now, if you want to get him a new console, go with the Wii U because there's more stuff that, you know, you would want him to play than besides on Xbox One and PS4.
Hey, you.
Hold on. Tell them what you think about Nintendo, Ethan. Come over here. All right, we got a new guest to the podcast. Over, Ethan. All right. Tell them, what game do you think is more kiddie out of this game, this game, right, and now this game,
Ooh.
and this game? Here, show them. Which one's the kids' games?
This one?
Show it up to the camera. What is that? Is that the next one? Okay. Why do you think that's a kids' game? What is it? What makes it more kiddie?
Easy.
It's easy.
Well, this one is.
Well, what makes it a kids' game? Is it the colors?
Yeah, the colors.
And what makes Wolfenstein and Battlefield more of adult games?
The blood.
Blood?
And scary?
Scary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scary.
What's scary about it?
The blood in it and
It is that.
Oh, this is cracking me up.
No, I just want to get somebody else's opinion on this subject.
I know.
Oh,
Now, what do you think of Donkey Kong when you play Donkey Kong?
hell.
it's hard.
It's hard. Donkey Kong's hard. Now, he thinks the games are hard, but you just think they look kiddie,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Oh.
Thank
So-
you. I appreciate it.
Wait, Dave, ask him are the games that are kiddie or good?
I'll be color mom. I'll be up in a little bit.
So basically, the kid was just basically saying that, you know, the kiddie games are hard and the mature games are easy.
No, I just wanted to. I had to get another opinion in here.
My mic was off.
Well, that helps a lot, actually.
My mic was off.
He did say they're hard.
I wanted to say to him,
Yeah.
1 versus 1 me, and I'll show you the.
All right, now, is there anybody who wants to talk about the subject anymore? We can go on and end this podcast. We got one more subject and we're done.
We can go to the next
I
subject.
for me, I've come to the conclusion, basically, I feel like it's just when to downplay their games. That's just me. That's just me.
Let's just go on.
All right, next
Yeah, let's move
subject.
on.
Next subject. What happened to gaming? Do you think gaming is anything like it used to be? Like, what's wrong with gaming now? Like, where did it go? Like, from what it used to be?
No.
I think some things are better, some things are worse.
Do you think would you take gaming nowadays
Oh, you
compared to
think?
the old days?
Gaming without a doubt was better back in the day.
What made it better?
Well, no one complained about specs. We didn't support broken games. What else?
I can give you one big one, and that was respect. There was respect for other consoles, not just the gamer, but console itself. Like when I was growing up,
There wasn't a lot of respect with the SNES versus the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, well, I agree with that.
I know when I was growing up, and you know when I first got my NES, everything was cool. People I knew they had NES, you know what I'm saying? We played each other game, we trade them, you know what I'm saying, borrow them or whatever. Super Nintendo Genesis days, you know what I'm saying? It was like people had their Genesis, people had their Super Nintendo, but at the end of the day, everybody respected the other console because they was asking, hey, you know, you think you can come over after school, man, bring your console? You think you can have company after school, man, after homework? We can get some. I can play that Genesis or I can play that Super Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? It's like they wanted to play the other console. They didn't say like, man, that console you got is garbage. I'm sticking with Genesis. No, they wanted to play those games because you know what? Back then, each console didn't have the same games that we have now. We may have the same title, but it was a totally different game from what the Super Nintendo had and the Genesis was. It wasn't the same X-Men game. It wasn't the same Spider-Man game like we have now.
It wasn't the same Aladdin game.
Right, everything was different. It may have the title, but the games were totally different. One game may have been better than the other one. One game probably sucked. But we all wanted to play that different version. And I don't know about you guys, but the people I was around when we was gaming, like, we respect each other's consoles. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we're like, damn, I wish I had a Genesis for that game you got me, because that game right there is hot. That Vector Man is hot. And he could have said the same thing about whatever I had on the Super Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? And that's how it was. And it's like, now nobody respects a console. You know what I'm saying? Is your console is garbage because it can only do 900p. And mine can do 1080p. But you forgetting, both of y'all consoles got 95% of the same damn game. So without third party, what y'all got? Shit.
Really nothing. Really got nothing.
Mainly what I'm asking pretty much is, like, are you guys happy where gaming is today compared to when you started gaming?
It's bittersweet.
For me,
Bittersweet.
for me, I mean, I don't take this stuff as seriously as most. You know, I'm a gamer. I've been gaming for a long time, but like the things that are annoying, most people don't realize, half the stuff that's annoying about gaming nowadays is if you get off the internet, it'll go away. Like now, some things won't. Like, you know, developers making broken games and stuff like that. Yeah, but most of the aggravation, like dealing with people, and you know them, you know, criticizing what you buy, caring what you do with your money when it comes to buying stuff and gaming and your choices. That just comes when you're dealing with people. Most of the time, they're people off the internet. I'm not saying people in your real life don't do that, because I know some people that do. But for the most part, it's people that you don't even really know. You know, that you have to deal with. I'm telling you right now, play if you want to have a better gaming experience for at least 2 weeks, game offline, maybe even game without talking to people. A lot of people say, you know, they didn't get the story in a game, they thought the story sucks. But what were you doing while you were playing the game? I was in party chat the whole time. You probably didn't pay attention. Probably sitting there arguing while playing the game. It's not going to equal a good experience. The only problem I have now is broken games being released. And people complaining, like you said, you know, people complain about a Tekken character won't complain about a broken game. That's about it.
One thing I want to add on is, don't get me wrong, I'm still a gamer, but there's a lot of problems I have with this generation. There's people that support microtransactions, overused DLC, and broken games, and that's a big problem because now all these developers are gonna be lazy, and another thing to add on to that is with all the remakes. Don't get me wrong, remakes are, you know, awesome, but I think we're getting a little too much.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
I mean, I don't really think a lot of that stuff is a big problem because, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, I understand. Like, I don't like microtransactions, and I don't like people overusing DLC or keep remaking stuff. But at the end of the day, it's not a big deal because all I do is just don't buy them. You know, you can't control what other people do. If people want to buy them, they're going to buy them. But look at Capcom. Capcom did the exact same thing. They put microtransactions in games. They kept re-releasing Street Fighter a billion times over. Now they have money issues. Don't support something, it'll stop. Like, I mean, you can you know, preach to other people that they shouldn't do it either, but people will do what they want to do, you know. So I want to lose sleep over it, you know, if someone else was doing it. As long as you're not doing it, you know, eventually it'll get fixed, I guess.
Yeah, and you're right. You don't have to buy it, but the problem is there's people that do buy it, and then this makes it so other, companies do it more because they see people buying this. They like all the DLC that they're putting out.
No, I get you, but what I'm saying is like, other than you explaining to people where you're coming from and trying to get them to understand what you're saying, like people really like I know people that will go into a heated discussion over what someone else is buying. Look, I don't like microtransactions, but what if someone actually doesn't mind it and they actually like buying those things? I mean, what? I mean, honestly, I look silly arguing with them. They actually want that, so they pay for it. Hey, I don't agree, but hey, I'm not going to argue about what you buy.
Well, on top of the microtransactions and the DLC and all that, some of these companies don't even listen to their freaking fans. Like a good example recently is like Square Enix, the whole deal with the Final Fantasy VII, and then of course there's like Capcom. They won't make any more Mega Man games, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can say about Square is, I mean, Square doesn't have a lot of. I mean, Square has money, but they're trying to, they ain't got that. They ain't like they used to be. So them just re-releasing Final Fantasy VII, the PC copy, because let's be honest, even if they had the money to make a remake, if you play Final Fantasy VII back in the day, do you really want them to really remake that game like that? Like, I mean, a lot of people think they do. I will want it, but in the back of my head, I'm like, if they remake it and fuck it up, I'm gonna be mad. Madder than them just maybe re-releasing it or leaving it alone.
Hey King, let me say something with the overused DLC. All right, it's a bad thing with the. Why I think it's a bad thing is because there's people out there that want the complete game, and say you buy a game. I'm just gonna use Call of Duty for example, and your friends go out and buy it, and this new map pack comes out, and you're required to buy it, and all your friends purchase it, but you don't have it, so you can't play with them. So that requires you to buy it just to play with your friends.
I mean, but that's just how it goes. I mean, you can't do nothing about it. I mean, like, I get what you're saying. You say you want the complete game, but at the same time, what if the game, like how DLC was back in the day, we don't really know half the time how DLC goes. Sometimes people think, hey, they made this full game and they made all the DLC already, and they took it out the game and trying to sell it to me later. Then there's other cases where they actually made a complete game. It's done. Now they're going back to add extra content that they did not work on before they were making this content. So you did get your full game. It just depends on how you look at it. I mean, for me personally, even if I want to play with my friends, if I don't want to buy something, I'm not going to buy it even if I want to play with them. I mean, that's just how I see things. There's plenty of times I was left out of a party, not a party chat, but like out of a game on Call of Duty because I wasn't going to buy the map pack. Because I didn't want the map pack.
Well, what I'm getting with this, like back in the day, and like with somebody, I think it was Yalu the Guru brought this up. He said developers don't really listen. Is that what you said?
Yeah, like that recent example, the Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. Back in the day, if you go back in the day, developers didn't listen to you at all.
Yeah, they really didn't.
We didn't have an internet to contact them. We just got our game, and we were happy with what we got. And if you weren't, you were fucked. You got a broken game, you got a broken game. But you didn't really have too many broken games like you do nowadays. They actually had to make sure that game was running the best they could to get that out before it was done. They couldn't just take a chance and be like, hey, we got the internet now and we can send a fucking update. They couldn't do that back then. So if you got a broken game, your fucking game was broken for good. There wasn't no internet.
When I was saying that, I was talking more like around the beginning of like PlayStation 2, original Xbox, GameCube era, because that's where internet really started rising. That's when they could listen. That's when they could listen to gamers.
Okay, well, I forget too. Like I'm thinking back in Super Nintendo NES days. You know, you got the game. It was there was glitches in games back then, just like there is now. But there wasn't that many like broken ass games like there is now. Like these games are fucking busted, and they're just hoping. They're meeting deadlines. They're like, we gotta get this game out by then to make sales. We'll just patch the damn thing 100 fucking times if we have to. Back then, a game like Nintendo's Quality of Steel meant something. Like, that meant something. Now, it still does, but there's more chances of you getting a flawed game where they could send out a patch or an update than what they could do back then. And we couldn't sit there and say, and bitch on forums and go and give death threats and everything else to developers. We just got the game, you didn't like it, you didn't buy from them fuckers no more. That was just how it was. And back in the day, there was a fight over Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, but it wasn't nothing like PS4 versus Xbox One. This is horrible. Like, people, what they're doing, they're attacking people's families. They're doing everything they can to, like, get a point across. Like,
I've seen that.
some dude, because he's got, whether he's fucked up on pills in a video and he has his kid running around. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that would never go on. It was a friendly attack.
It goes far on beyond that. People
that's
get
why
FBI on each other.
It gets
And that's what I'm saying. It's just the loss of respect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we had, people back in the day that prefer, the Genesis or the Neo Geo, but at the end of the day, they respect other consoles. That was the main thing back then. You may have people that talk bullshit about, Genesis or whatever was out, TurboGrafx, whatever was out, they enjoyed it. And they may troll back then, like, that's garbage. But at the end of the day, they respect it and they wanted to play those games, or they thought about going out and buy that other console to play those different type of games. And it's like now you don't see. It's like everybody is attacking everybody. Oh, you like Microsoft? Oh, well, I hate you because I like Sony. Everybody has they preference. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had a preference of what they game on. But still, at the end of the day, you still got to respect, because at the end of the day, they all consoles. They all play video games. You know what I'm saying? They basically all do the exact same thing of what you're playing on.
Yep.
And that's what we don't have in this gaming community, especially on YouTube, is the lack of respect. Now, if you go outside of YouTube and talk to somebody about what's going on YouTube, they look at you like you crazy. They're like, damn, my game, and they doing all this on YouTube? Like, really? Like, what the hell is the beef over video games? Like, why is there beef over video games? And you can't even tell them why.
And if you take, like, an example of, like, when Sega went out with the Dreamcast, back in the day, they weren't really fucking ragging on. They were like, oh, man, that sucks. Sega's gone. Nowadays, if that happened, fuck Sega. They deserve that. They make fucking shitty games. Fuck Sony. That's how it would go. Back in the day, it was like, you might have some upset people, but they were kind of upset that company was gone. Now you have people voicing opinions, and they got their console of choice, and they're going to go to war with whatever other consoles there are. Oh, you play the Yuya, you're a fucking idiot. You play the Microsoft, you bought a piece of shit, it only does 720p. Like, that never took place. Resolution was not even an issue. Frame rate was not an issue. None of that was an issue. It was like, if you were on the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis and you got a certain game and maybe your game had blood in it, they might have been fighting, oh, this one's better because it has blood. That was it. Argument ended. It wasn't, oh, I wasn't going to play that version because it don't have blood. That's what would go on nowadays. That would be on N4G, IGN, everywhere. Oh, Super Nintendo don't have blood in Mortal Kombat. It'd be everywhere. It's crazy. And mainly with this subject too, like, it falls under quality of games. I think the quality of games was so much better back then, and just games I had more enjoyment of, like Street Fighter back then, and Turok, games like that compared to nowadays what we're getting. But that could fall under the bracket that I'm maybe getting kind of, I've played so many of these fucking games, I'm just tired of it. I don't know. I always try to figure that out. I'll always play games, but if you've been playing games a long time, everything gets boring after a while. Like it gets to a point to where if you saw so many horror movies, you're like, okay, I had enough of them for a while. Like, and gaming, like a lot of these games are so similar, it gets boring after a while playing the same game. Like Grimpachi, I'm using an example, but it's not a bad example. Like you said with Shadow of Mordor, it was a lot like Batman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you just played Batman. You don't want to play Shadow of Mordor because it's like back then you got variety, and nowadays it's just like, oh, first-person shooters sell. Let's make fucking 100 of them, and that falls under the bracket of like movies. If you see a fucking superhero movie, most likely you're gonna see 10 of the same fucking superhero movie down the road, like because that one made money, so they're gonna go after that. So they're gonna burn you out with Assassin's Creed over and over and over. Back then, it just felt like we're getting the same shit over and over. We're getting rehashes. I would always take the Super Nintendo generation and the N64 and even the NES over what we got now. But it's not bad at the same time. I like games. You learn to adapt with everything. That's how it is. But that's my outlook on it. Anybody else have anything that they want to talk about this subject?
Me, I got them. Well, a couple things, but like. For the NES, like, I remember, I look up all kinds. I watch this guy, Angry Video Game Nerd, on YouTube, and like he shows off all NES games, like especially the shitty ones. But I look at all this, and there are an awful lot of like side scroller type games on the NES. Like, I guarantee every person that owns NES will probably have like a side scroller because that's a huge amount of what was on there. So I don't think that one's like a good example of like variety. I think the Super Nintendo and Genesis, that generation, when that came along, that seems to have a lot more variety in it. You know what I mean by that?
I get what you're saying. No, it's just nowadays. I mean, you gotta really take yourself and put yourself in them days. Like the NES, you gotta really think. At that time, those were the graphics we had. When we were going into the Super Nintendo, that was a fucking huge leap, And nowadays, I think people are just upset because we didn't really get that huge leap from the PS3 to the PS4. But
PS4.
You didn't get a big leap, and I think that's what people are upset too. Like you're not seeing, like when these games do get downgraded, they're like, why is it getting downgraded? It should look like we've first seen it because this is the almighty PS4 that should have the best graphics and everything, and that's not the case. It's not. And people get upset about it. Maybe there just isn't that leap no more that we're seeing like we used to, and people just think we're just kind of in the same generation as the last one.
Well, I think the way it works though is once you get to a certain point where you're just like really realistic with your games, you just can't go much further. I mean, games like on the PS3, Uncharted, some of those are about as realistic as you can get. We're getting pretty close to games that are looking like real life. You can't get more realistic than actual real life,
Yeah. Pretty soon, what's the next step when you actually look like you're blowing somebody's head off in a game? Like, I don't know. I think that's where it's going, and that's where, but we didn't. The graphics are getting so good, you really can't get much better now than just resolution. It'll be 4K maybe in the future. That might be the next step if that happens. If that, it's a chance that might not work. Just like HD DVD didn't work on the Xbox, 360. But the only step in, graphics will get better, but I don't think they're going to get that much better. I think they're going to have to go into another direction of virtual reality or something to give you that different feeling of gameplay or something new, because graphics are definitely not the thing that's new. It's like it's kind of very similar to the PS3, the PS4 in a lot of ways. That's the only one I would say was a big step up was the Wii from the Wii U. The Wii U is a big step up from the Wii because they finally got HD on Nintendo, so that's a step up for them. But the next step up for Nintendo, is it going to be that big? Who knows? I don't think so.
For the people that want better graphics, go outside.
What happened?
That's true. Like my conclusion on if gaming has like overall gotten better, like I think gamers themselves have not gotten better; they've gotten worse. But as far as like games themselves, I'd say some have, some haven't. Like, I think it mostly depends on the developer. So if you're like relying on a shitty developer to make some good games, some of them are gonna end up half-assed, like EA messing up some of the recent games, like The Sims and stuff. But I think with companies, I think Nintendo's games in the past decade have gotten better, and I think Sony does their exclusives right, they get better. Even Microsoft, even the Xbox. I think some of the Halos. I'd take the newer games over the older ones.
Okay. With Halo, I don't know. I'd always stay with Halo 2, but I could see somebody liking the new Halos because it's different, in a way. I understand that. No, I get what you're saying, man.
Yeah, I'd say Halo hit the peak at Halo 3. Halo 3 is my favorite.
Yeah, that was the last. I like the Halo story in 3 better than 2, but I like the multiplayer in 2 better than all of them. But I didn't play 4, so I can't sit here and say anything. I mean, it's probably I'm not gonna like it because I didn't like when they got the more Halo. I hated that Odyssey. I think it was called the Odyssey or something. It was awful. Like the one where you're actually a Marine, you're not the chief. You can't. That was horrible. J Dot, is that your name, buddy?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Oh, how's it going, man? I'm glad you joined. I noticed. I just saw your comment, and I added you on Google Plus. So basically coming to the end of the podcast, but I'm gonna let you take this. This is yours. What happened? Do you like where gaming went? Like, what happened to gaming? Do you like it from? That was the question. What happened to gaming? What's wrong with it? And 2, do you like the old game? Like, when did you start gaming?
I started gaming back in '87, man. I'm
okay.
Yeah, I'm 32, so I don't know. I'm the I don't know. I'm the oldest cat in here, but yeah, I've been gaming for a while.
Well, this is then just perfect topic for you, man. Do you like where gaming has gone? From back then to now.
Well, to me, what changed is I think the internet kind of like improved it and then made it worse at the same time. The reason why I say that is because before the internet, all games had to be patched correctly and had to be work 100% when they were released. If you got a buggy game, everybody knew about it, and the game didn't sell. Like E.T., I guess, for example, right? Or some others, like maybe Ninja Turtles for the NES. They had that one sewer stage where you really couldn't get past the game because it was like a glitch in the game. But I think back then the quality of games was much higher than they are today. Nowadays, moving forward from I guess the early '90s to maybe the mid to late '90s, and the internet was introduced, so everybody started playing games multiplayer, like multiplayer wise, which improved it because you're able to play with people across the world. So that's what I think where it improved and it showed like the growth in it. Now, come to 2000, I guess 5 to now, like now games get released, they have all these day one patches and these patches that come out day after day or week after week. Perfect example, I guess recently you got like Halo, which should have been working from day one, and now I think now it's working better than it was day one. Assassin's Creed Unity, broken mess when it came out. And what people need to realize, and developers need to realize, or just maybe just the community itself, not everybody plays on the internet. Not everybody has the internet. So, like, nobody's being held accountable for these games that are coming out not done correctly. And what I see what's happening is that a lot of the negativity is stirring from the communities. And I plan on making a video later this week about that. Is that I'm noticing now, not in not one of the communities I'm in with King is Glitch, but other communities I'm in is that I'm starting to realize there's a lot of negative people around. Like you got fanboys from both camps, actually all 3 camps that want to just stem off of it. They're like trolling, and I guess you could say they're trolling now, and having that is just it's detrimental to our hobby. I think that it's not going up or downhill. Right now is at a stagnant spot. It's like real neutral. I mean, now games are coming out and people aren't being as vocal maybe, but at the same time they're being vocal because now everybody's competing against resolution and frame rate and the graphical fidelity of the games. Like with Uncharted, I listened to your show earlier, So people are comparing the CGs of Uncharted 4 to the gameplay, and people need to understand that CGs always look better than gameplay. It's always been like that. I mean, so why are they comparing it still today? And I guess people want like a big leap in graphics, but these consoles are underpowered. I mean, they can't deliver these, I don't know, these jaw-dropping graphics. But
PCs are still years ahead.
oh yeah, I mean, like I game on console and PC. I don't own all the consoles. I don't plan on owning all the consoles because as of right now, they don't. Right now I have a PS4 console wise. I guess most recent console is the PS4. Nintendo and Xbox really don't have, their library really doesn't have anything that appeals to me, for say.
Why is
What was that?
Why is that?
Nintendo, like I gave up with Nintendo back in N64. I have their GameCube, but they just like, to me they feel like they dropped the ball. Like
When did you think they dropped the ball? Was it around the N64 game?
Yeah, around N64 because why they didn't want to use CDs. And this is back when I used to get Nintendo Power. So I read the article about them going back to cartridges and not CD, and I started, you know, and PlayStation was introduced, and they were using CDs, and back then I was more into like sound quality of a game. Like, you know, I wanted to get that like CD quality sound. You really can't get that out of a cartridge. At least back then you couldn't. So to me, they dropped the ball back then, and then. Even though the GameCube came out, it was said to be the more powerful console. They had a mini disc, which was like, from what I hear now and what I read now, it was hard to program. I mean, I think it's going to hold like what 2 gigs of data, and the way they put the data on the disc was backwards, like from the outside in, so they can have more space to put data on it. And to me, they dropped the ball with that because it was just so proprietary, and Nintendo, like, they have their way of doing things, which is good and bad. Like, they have their own identity with their items, but it's so far out there compared to everybody. It's hard for developers, anybody to get used to that. Like the Wii U is probably a great console. I don't have one, but it's probably a good console though. But its concept, it only works for Nintendo though. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's and that's good and bad at the same time. I like to get a Nintendo console, but like Mario and all their games I wasn't really into those games as a kid. The only Mario game I liked a lot was Mario World and Mario Kart, the first one. You know, other than that, I kind of like strayed away from them because they weren't really my games. And maybe because my friends I hung around with growing up, we really didn't play those either. You know,
But did you see what I was saying about when we got into the whole topic of Nintendo? I don't know if you're watching the whole podcast.
Go ahead.
Did you see what I got into the topic of is Nintendo Kiddy?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and I'm just saying the whole, like, the game, for me, when it turned real kiddie, I hate to bring this subject up again, but I got somebody, you know, you've been around for a while for gaming, so that's why I want to ask you this question. For me, when it was the GameCube, when they made games like Zelda, Wind Waker, that was a big thing to me. When Nintendo, I just felt it became more childish. They took my favorite franchise and turned it into a kid's game. That's what I guess I thought at the time.
Yeah, because
what did you think?
Okay, so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because the Wind Waker was like a 2D cel shaded animation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I really can't say too many negative things about that because I played Tales of Heart, so they use kind of like similar animations. But what kind of turned me off with that is that that tech trailer they had of Zelda, I think came out around that same time. That tech trailer they had, it was all like cinematic and whatnot. I'm like, where's that game? Where's that version of Zelda? Never was released. Yeah, it was a tech demo. It's kind of like, if you think about it, it's kind of the same way how Square did Final Fantasy VII. You know, Nintendo doing Zelda. They showed this tech trailer of the game that people would want to get, but never released it. You know, so
Well, it's kind of what happened with Zelda just now. They showed us a tech demo in, I think, 2011 or 12, and that was a different Zelda what we're getting now. When he was fighting that dragon or whatever he's fighting.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, where's that game at? You know what I mean? And you know, I know it's not all about visuals though, but that's what gets that's what gets your attention first. Is the visuals of the games. I'm not saying Zelda's a bad game.
That's what made me buy the Wii U. I saw that fucking tech demo. I was like, sold.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's nowhere to be found.
Yeah. So
they do those tech demos just to excite people, though. They the Space World one, and then they did the one for the Wii U. Those were just to hype people up for what was to come. That's not the final product.
Well, that was years ago. When they showed the tech demo. Well, where is the game? And other Zeldas have came out after the tech demo.
Twilight Princess.
Say it again.
Twilight Princess.
What about it?
Have you played it?
Twilight Princess is probably the closest thing to that Space World demo, but the thing about that is that's not, I mean, Jay got, we were in the chat together with the PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that's Nintendo's fault. Like, remember you were freaking out because Square came.
Exactly.
I had no idea what they were. Square could have came up there, farted, and left. Like, that's not, their fault that people were getting overexcited. I could see if Nintendo said, "Yo, like at Space World, this is a Zelda game," then I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's bullshit." But that's just a tech demo, just showing you the power of the GameCube.
Yeah, I completely understand that, and I've learned obviously from last week from that. But at the same time, you got to ask yourself, why are they even showing this? You know what I mean? They're showing the characters, like some iconic characters. Like, why even show this? It's
the same thing. Like, remember with the I don't know if you remember with the Wii U, they showed this tech demo that you can actually download on your Wii U of this bird flying around. Okay, it looks nice, but it's a bird. It's a normal bird. Now you show me somebody I know, like I don't know, Link, Mario, something like that. Out of all the Nintendo characters, the only two I would say they would ever show off graphics would probably be Samus or Link. Show off Mario for graphics would be really weird because it's Mario.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of them, just to show off these characters, the more realistic ones.
Yeah.
Well, the creator of I can never remember the creator's name for Zelda. He even said like that tech demo that we seen for the Wii U like 2 years ago. He was saying that they can do the game that way, but he said he didn't want to go that way. He said he didn't want the Zelda franchise to actually go in that realistic state, because he was like, when you start going realistic as possible, it starts to age. And he was like, he'd rather have that fantasy looking, or I guess you could say cartoony look to the Zelda franchise, because it keeps its freshness. I mean, when you go back and look at Wind Waker, and when they redid Wind Waker HD, Wind Waker, 11 years ago on the GameCube, still today holds up. It doesn't look bad.
It looks great.
When you go back and look at the Oblivion, the original game for the 360, when the 360 launched, that game looks ugly now. But back then, that shit looked realistic as hell when I first brought it. I'm like, man, this game is gorgeous. But you go back, now or another 5 years from now, you be like, damn, this game looks ugly. Even though it looked realistic, it looks ugly. And that's what he was saying, that he didn't want the game to age where if you went back, even 20 years from now, that the game would just be so dreadful ugly, like you're looking at 16-bit or 8-bit graphics. He wanted to keep it, what I'm saying, as like, damn, this game it's hard for this game to age. And just looking at that tech demo, I was surprised. I'm like, damn, that game does look good, that tech demo. And he said it's a possibility that he may do it because the fans do want it on the Wii U. Now, we getting this new Zelda that's colorful. Now, who's to say, what I'm saying, after that game come out, maybe he will give us that dark look like, Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
you never know.
Like that's what I'm looking for in a Zelda game. I mean, and my opinion is not going to be the best probably because I never really dived into a Zelda game. But I'm looking for like a dark version of Zelda.
What we've all been looking for.
Yeah, so like the one I'll probably end up picking up will be Ocarina of Time and playing that because I've heard a lot of good praise about it. So.
The closest you say you want to get with like the Ocarina of Time is kind of dark, but even going darker than that, then Ocarina of Time will be Twilight Princess.
Okay. And
Yeah,
that's
you
what
would actually love Twilight Princess because it is dark. Link does everybody look almost as realistic
Well,
as
it's not the visual. It's just I want like a dungeon. Cause what's Zelda classified as? What, like an adventure RPG slash dungeon crawler or what?
Yeah, pretty much.
like RPG
Like
action.
I know it won't be as dark as Diablo. I mean that I think it's obvious. It won't be as dark as that, but something in the same realm at least. You know what I mean? Like
You want voice
Then
acting.
no,
then my best bet would be with Twilight Princess.
okay,
'Cause I know
yeah.
exactly what you're looking for, and Twilight Princess is it.
Okay, yeah, because the voice acting they're not gonna do that. I mean,
But you know the problem with the Twilight Princess, that was on, what system was that on?
GameCube and Wii.
Okay, so I'm wrong what I was going to say then. Never mind.
I have a GameCube, so I can get that. I can get it on that. But
I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you. I've been playing Zelda for years. I didn't play the ones on the Wii, and I skipped the GameCube, but all the ones before that, the Ocarina of Time, I played. Except the second, no, actually, I can't rephrase that. The second Zelda, I have it. I have it to play, but I didn't play it yet. And I didn't play Majora's Mask, because at that time, I had Ocarina of Time, and then, I was a kid. I didn't have a job, I got what I got, and that's what I had. But I'm with you. I'm ready to see Zelda go into some kind of dark phase. I want to see something new. And when people get all upset when people say that, oh, he wants to see a darker Zelda, it sounds very stereotypical. It's not. It's something that people want to see one of these franchises go to. Whether it's Metroid, Zelda, fucking Mario, give him a sword. I don't know. Somebody wants to see some of these characters do this shit.
Yeah, and to go back to answer your question is Nintendo Kiddy. Hopefully I can answer it this way. Like you said it best. Zelda has always been looked at, in the light side of gaming, but when he's gonna have that collide with the dark side, and maybe you can see
all the elements are there for a dark game. You got Android, you got everything to be a dark game, and they can do it. It's just why don't they want to do it? That's what I don't understand. Is it they want to keep it family friendly, or is they don't want to go that route with Zelda? Like, what is it? Like when they showed off that tech demo, I don't care if it was a tech demo or whatever. That game looked fucking sick, and I was like, damn. I was like, why are they? That sold me on the Wii U. I was like, all right. If I hate all the Nintendo franchises, like I was thinking in my head, if I don't want to play Mario again or whatever, I'll wait for this game. And now they're coming out with, it's not bad what they're coming out with, but it's definitely not anything that looked like that tech demo. Anything. It looks like I would say more of the Wind Waker look than anything.
Yeah, it does. It does. So it's like an updated version of it, really.
And it gives me the feel of this big open world of like when I played Ocarina of Time and Link went around on this horse. It gave me that feel, so I'm okay with that. And me playing Wind Waker made me like it. That I gave it a chance. At the time in the GameCube days, hell no, I wasn't giving that game a chance. I thought they ruined Zelda.
Yeah.
And that's just an honest opinion. I'm not being a fanboy saying that. I grew up on Nintendo, and that's where Nintendo. That was what made me get off Nintendo. Like when they did that to Zelda, I'll say it to this day. It's what ruined Zelda for me at the time.
Yeah,
but and Wind Waker, it's a fantastic game. I can't deny it's a good game. I like it. I just didn't like. I got the impression, I guess, they were making Zelda into like a fucking kids game. I thought there was going to be a whole different game. I was like, what are they doing?
like what Dark was it? Was it Old Dirty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you were saying about the visuals, the way you broke it down, I didn't really look at it that way, but you said it actually pretty good. I mean, like, because some games, like I guess you could say like launch titles for PS3 and 360, if you look at them now, they look dated, and with animation, like the animated type games, they really don't look dated. You know what I mean? Because you really can't tell the difference when it was released. So I got to agree with you on that, and I guess that's a good tactic from the developer side to do that. Now to go back what Dave was saying about, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying exactly. I almost feel like Nintendo didn't grow up with me. Like they stayed as if I was like 10 years old, and I'm not. Like, and I understand they don't have to make any games to appease to like a mature audience though, but when of these franchises are gonna like grow up with me, or at least make a new franchise that's like more targeted towards like maybe like a teenage to adult crowd, to where and I'm not trying to say they got to make a mature game to make an adult, they're cussing and there's blood everywhere, but just make a different type of game. Like, I almost feel like they're only known for 3 titles: Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. I'm like, they're a games company. Where are the different type of games they're gonna make? I mean, I know their bread and butter are those 3 titles though, but where's the new blood? Like, it's just, I feel like it's the same game coming out back when I was 5 years old.
Yeah, they could take a Star Fox and fucking make it all out online, turn it a little. You could take Star Fox, turn it fucking dark. You could do all kinds of shit.
Make Star Fox like Star Wars. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, they could do it. It's just they don't. I think they want to stay in that zone because they have that area locked. They're locked. Like, they own that area. Like, Sony tries it, but they don't succeed.
Yeah, and that's where I give kudos to Sony. At least they try. You know what I mean? Like
Microsoft didn't. They've done some things like that. Dragon. What was that game that came out on the Xbox 360 as a launch title?
Blue Dragon.
Blue Dragon. Yeah.
Something. It was an Xbox 360 launch. Microsoft's tried it too. Like, if I would say a game that's more. Well, I can't say Fable. Fable's like kind of like they tried it with. That's like their Zelda, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, see, the problem with Xbox is I guess majority of their crowd, they don't buy those type of games.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. I mean, like, they tried it because I believe it was a Tales of something game. I think it was an RPG that came out. It came out only on 360 and in Japan. They tried it out here. It didn't sell well. So from that day forward, I think it was Bandai Namco. Yeah, they stopped making like RPG style games for Xbox. It didn't sell well because their audience just they don't buy it. I mean, it's not Xbox's fault. It's for say. It's just the crowd they rather play. Hate to say it, those dude bro games. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily their fault, but it seems like Nintendo and Sony, they get those type of games more often. But I'm trying to answer your question about the Kiddy thing. I don't think Nintendo's Kiddy, but a lot of their core audience is a younger crowd, though. They're younger than me, at least. so I can say somebody that's
younger. I don't know. I think their core audience, this is my honest opinion, I think their core, the fans that they have that run out and buy that damn thing day one, are the people that grew up with Nintendo that didn't go to Sony and didn't go to Microsoft, because there ain't no damn new gamers that are just starting nowadays of an adult that's jumping to Nintendo.
Exactly.
They're like, okay, I'm going to start gaming, I'm going to try this Call of Duty. I'm going to try this Grand Theft Auto and see what it's all about. They're not like, well, I'm going to try fucking Mario and see what this is about. They're like, they kind of sit back and look at it for a second.
Yeah, and
the main fans are still the people that grew up and never left Nintendo. That's their audience that buys these consoles day one. Like Grimpachi. People that grew up on it that never left Nintendo, but may have left, came back. I left because of Zelda, but then I always liked Nintendo. When you grow up on something, you always want to relive your childhood. But I think they need to, like you said, they need to make this darker game or some kind of more of an adult edge game, like something you would see like the mainstream people playing, like Call of Duty or something of Nintendo's, something of that nature of Nintendo's own shit. That you can say, hey, that game, that's a game I would play that would get you on there. It only takes one game. It for Microsoft, and for Sony, you got God of War and stuff. It only takes one game to get those people over.
Yeah, and also Nintendo needs to change some of their policies or their ways.
Yeah.
I mean,
and their policy. Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't that.
Like people can't upload video footage on YouTube. They can't really stream it. I mean, they can, but they do all these workarounds. I mean, like as if they're still stuck in the '90s, technology wise, but they won't progress. Like I heard some rant videos from Nintendo fans, hardcore fans, stating things that are wrong with the Wii U that they need to change. Like I think like even their friend invites, the chat system, like text chatting.
They definitely need to change it.
Yeah, it's just some things they need to do just to stay modern. I mean, like the Wii U should have came with an Ethernet port. It should have. I mean, you shouldn't have to go buy a USB one to like an adapter.
You do not have to go buy an Ethernet cable for the fucking Wii U. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. Like from what I understand, it doesn't have a Ethernet jack on it. I'm like, really? Like,
well, it's like right there. It's almost like right there. Nintendo came out the gate saying, okay, we're going to be hardcore. We want the hardcore gamers, cater to the hardcore gamers, better online, and more third-party support. Now, if you're talking about better online, aren't you going to have an Ethernet cable and not just Wi-Fi?
Exactly.
Let's get real.
Now, their console it's simple at the same time. You know what I mean? Because doing a Wi-Fi connection may be easier than doing a wired because not everybody has access to a wired jack, right? So
yeah,
it's I don't know. I'd rather be on the wire, and that's how I game. I game on the wire, because it's just more steady flow. It's been proven. But I don't think their console's Kiddy. I think they need to at least get out of some of their ways to progress as a company. Because they had money wise, they're doing fine. That's all great, but nobody's like to lose money either. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What do you mean under YouTube policy?
Yeah, like if you try to upload let's say I don't do Let's Plays, but let's say you try to do Let's Plays of some of their games, don't be surprised you get a copyright strike.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't get. That's another thing that's weird, and I don't.
That too. I've been getting a copyright strikes too.
How big's your channel?
Not that big.
What you get a copyright strike for, Levon?
For uploading like Nintendo videos, and I also got for like playing Mario Kart 8 on a Google Hangout or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got hit with a copyright strike?
Yeah.
Like why? You have to think about it. It's like why is Nintendo doing that? If anything, you're advertising their game, so they should be more for it. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying, and it doesn't fall like. I hope nobody's taking this as we're saying that's Kiddy because they don't stream games or whatever or show games on YouTube. But what I know what you're talking about. Definitely, you're talking about. Hey, let's get with the fucking times and let's do some of these features. What we can get standard, which is a fucking standard to most other consoles. Like I don't buy a Microsoft console and not expect it to have friends messaging, or have to. Like, the Wii U does have that, but you gotta go through the Miiverse, all that shit, just to send a message to your friend. It's fucking unreal. Like, and you try to figure out, well, why did they do this? Like, why is this so hard to do? And it's because it's family friendly, and they don't really want people sending messages.
Yeah, and is this why? Yeah, exactly what you said. Why make the simplest thing so hard?
Yeah, and they can do that because this console definitely has more power than the PS3 and the 360, but it's like some of the shit you see that it can do and it can't do don't make sense. Like I can literally do a cam chat on the Wii U. Like I can do a Skype call of their own version on the Wii U, but I cannot do a party chat. Like I can't do a party chat like you can on the PS4 and Xbox One. Like why? Why can I cam chat with somebody and I can't party chat? That don't make any sense.
I'm wondering why you can't do that on the PS4, Xbox One.
What? Do a video chat?
Yeah.
Chat?
Yeah. I don't know why.
You can do that on the Xbox One. They have Skype.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the PS4.
Well, I don't know. That's something that I don't know. I mean, but they obviously give you the standard shit that you should be able to do by now. It's 2014 where you can get to a party chat, or I can message a friend like it's no problem. I don't have to go to the Miiverse to send a message and hope somebody goes to the Miiverse I'm trying to message to see my message.
Okay, wait, Levon, you're asking if you do a video chat on the PS4, right?
Yeah, why can't you do video chat on the PS4?
I never tried it, so is it a...
Well, you can. In a way, you can. I can get on there and stream and talk to people. I can get people in my call and talk. It's not like a direct video chat.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
You can do that, Levon, in a way. Yeah. It's not as simple as Nintendo where I get in there and do like a cam chat. You can't do that, but you can get on video and talk to people.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
like I'm just saying, the simple features of messaging people that we were doing last generation, no problem, and the previous generation on the original Xbox. You mean to tell me the Wii U can't do that, and they're coming out the gate saying we're going to give you better online? So where's the better online? Like, where's the standard online? Give us the standard, not the better. I want the standard at least. If you're not going to give me the better.
Yeah, so like I said before, I don't think it's a Kiddy system. I just think they need to just stop catering. They're not catering. Stop making their hardware so difficult to function. I mean, some of the features should be really easy. I mean, you the buyer should not have to go through all these loopholes just to do one simple thing.
Well, you know what other thing that kills me is the whole Smash Brothers and Mario Kart voice chat that they do give us. They're going to give us voice chat in a lobby, but they're not going to give it to us to the whole game. Like, okay, if they're going to give it to us in a lobby, why can't we have it the whole game we're playing? Like, they're going to let me talk to somebody in a lobby at the end of the game, but they're not going to let me talk to them while I'm playing?
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with their voice server, the voice IP. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with that.
I also think with that is maybe Nintendo really don't. Well, they actually, first time, really diving into online. So maybe they really don't have, or know how to build a, structure of, the online, like, the PSN and the Xbox Live.
I mean,
I hear what you're saying.
Didn't they have all
this stuff? But the stuff's not new. I mean, like, Roger Wilco is a program I used back in the 90s. So doing a voice over IP is nothing new.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I understand what Old Dirty's saying. I would never. Yeah. No, Nintendo's $1 billion company. You mean tell me they can't figure out fucking voice messaging and all that shit? I don't see it.
I mean,
it
stuns me. It stuns me that we don't have. Nintendo don't have the chat. You know what I'm saying? Why as you playing the game, except for what Call of Duty. But where's the party chat? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking for those functionalities, just like on my PS4 and PS3 and 360. I want those functionalities too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Nintendo like to do things the Japanese way, but like, do the Japanese people, gamers, like, do they like the voice chat? You know what I'm saying? Because we really don't know, because the other consoles don't really sell well except the Sony and Nintendo. And we know the PS3 didn't really have the chat or the party or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, is they just going by Japanese and not really catering to, the US, to the West?
From what I understand, consoles don't really, compared to the West, consoles don't really sell that as high in the East as they do in the West. That's based on statistics. So I don't know if they're going based off that or not. But even Nintendo admitted themselves that they don't understand the West. Didn't Iwata say something similar to that?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and that's why I think that Iwata, you know what I'm saying, not saying he's a bad president of Nintendo. I think he should just focus on, you know what I'm saying, Japan, and let somebody else focus on the West. On United States of what we like. Give it to Reggie or give it to somebody else and let them be president. Because I remember during the Super Nintendo days, I think all the way up to the N64 or GameCube, we had Howard Lincoln as president for North America.
Yeah.
I think he is president of North America, ain't he?
He's a president, but he don't have the power like Iwata. Like, everything got to go through Iwata. Like, they say Iwata is the president for everybody, the whole Nintendo, North America, UK, Japan. I'm like, hey,
like if that's the case, it wouldn't matter who they put in there for America, because at the end of the day, Iwata got to say so. I mean, really, the only thing that I think Nintendo's doing fine. Nintendo's been doing the same thing for years. They release consoles, they release pretty good games. They release consoles that don't cost that much money to put out. They turn a profit for the most part. And what they end up doing, and why people think they lose money, they spend more than they make. And that's the big issue. It's not like they like not making money. They just spend too much damn money on stuff that we don't know what the hell it is until later on down the road.
Well, one thing I see that Nintendo does that bothers not let's say it bothers me, but that's kind of strange. That's strange. Actually, it's not right. They make all these peripherals. It's like, why didn't the like for instance like the GameCube adapter? Like really, they only made so many of them. And then the Amiibos is another peripheral, and then the Wiimote. The Wiimote, but the Wii U gamepad. Like, why can the Wii U just come with a regular controller and the gamepad? They make all these extra stuff. It's almost like a cash grab, sort of. Like even the 3DS, 2DS, and now they got a new 3DS. It's like every 2 years they get like a whole new piece of hardware, and the Nintendo fans they don't mind, which is fine, But don't at the same time, the same people can't say, well, the PC guys are constantly upgrading their hardware every year or two. Well, Nintendo's constantly releasing new hardware every other year as well. I mean, so what's the
Well,
difference?
isn't new smartphones getting released every couple months?
Yeah.
I mean, really, with the whole with the
Really?
Nintendo thing, it's. I mean, really, with any of them, it's never a big deal to me because it's never like I need to get it. It's just an option. Like I use, I had a Wii U. I enjoyed the Wii U for the most part. The thing that pissed me off is the lack of games and some other shit that was going on with it. But when it came to, and I don't mean games in general, because I mean third-party games. But when it came to like the Wii U gamepad, a lot of people before I even played it was like, it's heavy, it's not good, blah blah blah. I used it. I was like, this is fine. I mean, you don't need that Pro controller. It's just an option if you want it. Like, so peripherals never really bothered me like at all for the most part. It's an option.
But
he wants the Pro controller. He wants that regular. He don't want to be forced to have to use the gamepad out the gate. I get what he's saying. Is that what you're saying?
But that's the thing. Like, but that's the thing. Like, you can't. I mean, you can't. It's almost like saying I like wired. I do. I like wired controllers more than wireless. Well, for the most part, every console comes with a wireless controller, and you have to buy a wired one separately.
What?
That's not like a big. For me at least, it's just. Oh well, I gotta buy that wire controller whenever I get around to doing that.
But King, I have a question. But do you think, by Nintendo coming with the gamepad, they kind of limited their, limited third parties for producing games for them?
Yep.
No, I think it's more the hardware than anything else. It's not the gamepad. The gamepad is a controller. Is nothing more, nothing less. Like if you don't want to use the screen, you don't use it. It's almost like the Wii remote nunchuck. I would say that argument is a little bit stronger for, but really. It was more of the Wii. The original Wii was just weak. That was.
No, the problem developers did have was with the gamepad. They didn't want to make all these fucking extra features because at one time, the gamepad you had to use for most of the games. Now they're making it to where you can use the Pro controller for all the games. At first, like games like Zombie U, you were forced to use the gamepad. And what developers were saying, they're like, why is Nintendo come out with a console to where we have to develop for this gamepad? Because it kind of looks dumb when you got a game that comes out and don't do nothing with the gamepad. That's the first fucking argument people say. Oh, the gamepad ain't implemented at all in this game. And that was an argument with Donkey Kong that they didn't implement anything.
Like I said, like that for the developers to say is like an excuse because it's like all right. For example, almost every I think every PS4 game you have to make it what do you call it with the Vita?
For the Vita.
You could play for the Vita.
Yeah.
Nintendo did not put that stipulation on. If you wanted to use the features of the gamepad, you can use it. Hell, even Nintendo doesn't use the features of the gamepad unless they want to. So if you were a third-party developer, you didn't have to do anything with it at all. It's a controller at the end of the day. I mean, all they had to do was map the buttons and make it work for the controller. They didn't have to do nothing with touchscreens, gyro controls, nothing. They could have just,
Well, the developers were looking at it though, like they had to implement. It does make sense though. A developer's okay. You're developing a game. Say I'm putting a game on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and then you got the Wii U. Now a developer's going to be like, why am I going to have to go and put all this time into this controller? Most people are going to want gamepad features for their gamepad, and that version isn't going to sell as well as the rest of them. That's where a lot of I could see a time and resources that they're going to put into this gamepad for putting cool features like looking on a map and all that stuff that they're doing.
How much money are you supposed to expecting to make? Though?
Like I said, like with that, I just for me personally, I call BS. It was almost like when what EA said the Wii U couldn't run the what's the engine, the Frostbite engine.
Frostbite engine.
But a phone can run the Frostbite engine. That doesn't even make sense.
Well, what you want to?
It's really like the developers don't want to develop for the Wii U. think about it. PC, 360, Xbox One, PS4, very easy to port, put games, pass them through, whatever. The Wii U is a different scenario. They're not. They have to actually optimize the game and really like for the PS4 and Xbox One. You can slap the game on there. Then you can optimize it for that hardware and that game, that system itself. The Wii U, you have to completely make that game
All
for the
over
Wii
again.
U.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. Like if it was similar hardware, honestly, I would think you'll see more games on the Wii U.
I also think it's some bad blood from the past, from
Yeah,
and
bad
how
blood.
Nintendo used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
That too, but you know the controller thing. Me personally, I just don't buy that because like half the games on the Wii U don't use gamepad features, and like at first people
Yeah.
really. I heard why aren't they using the gamepad from people that didn't even have a Wii U? Really, it was mostly people looking from the outside looking in. When I had a Wii U, I said they're not using the gamepad, but it wasn't. It was just like, oh, they're not using it, whatever, and I went on. You know, it wasn't a big deal for me at least.
Yeah.
Well, developers, though, were saying, they're like, why are we going to go and make all these... It's like they have to do something extra where they don't have to do that for the other consoles. Like, they have to... And that's something that gamers usually argue about with the Wii U if they want that version. Like Watch Dogs, they want all kinds of cool features for their gamepad. And I could see the developers saying, okay, we're going to make all these cool features like EA did with Need for Speed, Most Wanted You, and the game fucking flopped. And then they're like, okay, we just put all this time and we went and got a whole other fucking team to do this game, and it flopped. And they did the features.
What cool features did they do with the
It
gamepad?
was pointless.
With Need for Speed Most Wanted, what did they do with the gamepad?
They did all kinds of things with it that other games weren't doing.
They
Like,
just
no, I'm saying like what? I don't like. I remember them going in.
But it
All it did was just like the weather.
All they did was what?
Oh,
All it did is like made like functions for the weather, things like that. You know, make it dry. You know,
yeah,
things
there
like
were features done with it.
it kind of did.
Yeah, there was features with the gamepad. I had the game, I just can't remember what it all. I didn't use those features. Old Dirty, you have the game still, right?
Yeah.
What did they do with the gamepad for Most Wanted You?
Basically, you can play off screen, off TV. If you want to play the TV, you can play on the control. They also had you can change from night to day at any random time. Like if you was playing at night and you rather play in the day to actually while you're racing, you can change it. You can turn off traffic. You actually turn traffic on and off. And there was something else you could do also on the fly just by pressing the button.
So really, it was like a menu system.
Yeah, that's all I'm hearing.
But, I mean, that's all. That's what they do with all the Wii U titles, or they just turned it off. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know any game, really, like even Wonderful 101. Like people, you can use the gamepad for that, but I
have to have
the whole time.
to play Wonderful 101.
I mean, you probably do, but like I'm saying, I didn't use the gamepad feature. I just used the analog stick. I didn't even draw on that thing. It was a little stupid. I just used the analog stick.
Yeah, but there's a part in that game where you have to use the gamepad. It's when you go into that you go under like a shed, not a shed, like a building.
You have to look at the screen, but there's a button you press. You could just put that on your TV, or even if you go under there, like you can still you don't have to like the drawing mechanics and stuff. You just use the.
No, but that part you have to use the gamepad unless you can see blind, and you can do it. I mean.
You can see what?
Unless you got night vision or something, you can do it without it. I mean,
I don't know what. No. You're talking about when you go in those areas and then
there's
down to the gamepad. That's what I'm saying. There's a button, like it's like the minus button or something. It will bring that screen to your TV. Then you don't have to look at the gamepad.
I remember I looked it up too. You had to use it, but I could be wrong. Maybe they added something where you don't have to use it. But at the time, you had to use it. I remember. I mean, am I right?
It was plenty of locations. Like I remember fighting this dude or something, and I had to go under. Like it was like a glass floor, and you could see under the glass floor was a maze.
No.
You fall down, and then it switches to the gamepad. But there's a button you press. So you look at.
And you turn things. You turn the.
You turn the knobs.
Yeah.
You can make that picture come on your TV.
Well, I'll call Nintendo. I'm gonna ask them tomorrow. I'm gonna say, hey, I got this game, and I'm gonna ask them. And we're going to film the video. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I could have swore to God that I had to use the gamepad to do that feature.
No, it was a button. Like pretty much all their games have other options for you to do. That's what I'm saying. Like the developers don't have to.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm?
How do you play Zombie U?
How did I play Zombie U? You have to use the gamepad with Zombie U, but not
Yep.
wonderful 101. We were talking about that, weren't
No,
we?
I'm just saying there is games you have to use the gamepad and the gamepad only. That's a guarantee. Is the Zombie U?
Yeah, but that's not okay. I'm being confused. Wasn't the discussion that the developers
No,
didn't
you
develop for the
said
Wii
there's.
U
You
because they
said you
didn't
can
want
get
to?
around the gamepad. You said you can use the controller for all games. There is games where you cannot. That's what I'm saying. There
No, I
is.
didn't say that you can use the controller for the. I'm saying that developers don't always use features for the gamepad. So saying that they have to do something extra for the gamepad doesn't make sense to me because most of the time they don't do anything extra.
Well, the thing that what I'm getting at, the developers look at it that way. Like they're like, why are we going to develop a game when everybody? There is people that bitch on the internet that say, oh, this game don't implement any features in the gamepad. I've watched podcasts just about this subject go on for an hour, like talk about the gamepad not being implemented, like on a lot of games, like Super Mario 3D World. We blew into the gamepad. You hit the control, you hit the touch the thing to move different things, but they're developers. I've seen this in things too, where they actually said, they don't. It's a lot more to develop for, like how you said with how the system's tricky, but the gamepad too. They don't. They don't want to spend the time. They don't want to do all that. And then you got gamers that bitch. You're like, well, what's good about the gamepad? What are we doing here? It's almost like the gamepad is kind of becoming like the Kinect in a way.
It's like a gimmick.
A gimmick. It is a gimmick. I mean,
I think I think what Nintendo was actually trying to do with the gamepad, and they was actually trying to emulate like the DS, where you have two screens, where your TV is the main screen, and the gamepad is actually the bottom touch screen. So basically, that's what Nintendo was trying to do, trying to give developers, something, different as like the DS or the 3DS, as use, the gamepad, use the touch for different things, um, say like for instance, Batman. I got Batman on the 360. Now I have to pause it just to look at the map, just to upgrade his abilities, weapons, and all this. Now I got the same game on the Wii U, the Armored Edition, and I don't have to pause the game. It's like whatever I'm doing, I just look down at the game. If I need to upgrade him, when I get an upgrade, I just tap the button and pick, you know, what I want to upgrade on him, either his armor, his combat, his battle ram, whatever, and I just hit it. If I need to look at the map to find something where I need to, to go, I just hit for map and look on the map. I got the full map, and I'm like, okay, there go my destination, and touch it, and it's telling me where to go when I look back up at the TV. And that was the thing that I like. It's just a few games that actually use the gamepad well, and that's what Nintendo was trying to do. And I don't know how hard it is to like put these games on the Wii U. But I remember when the Wii U came out, it was one developer that said that um, it wasn't hard for them to get a game up and running, and they said it took them like I think 5 to 10 minutes to actually have the game running off the gamepad with no problem. So
are you there, older? I think it wrote.
it might have been them. I can't remember who it was.
Hey, you're breaking up, bro.
You're breaking up, old dirty.
Oh yeah, I can't remember who it was. Levon might be correct. It might have been THQ with the Darksiders. You know how they said like they got the game up and running, and then they say it took them like maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes tops to have the game actually running on the gamepad with no problem. So I'm just trying to like figure out what's the deal with third party in the Wii U, because if you look at the original Wii, which had no HD, that was less powerful than the PS3 and 360, yet it was a shitload of games on the Wii, even though a shitload of them were shitty games, you know what I'm saying, but they was putting games on there. So now that you have a console that's up to par with what you really wanted to do, why all of a sudden just stop all of a sudden?
It's based off numbers, man. Because the Wii sold what 110 million at the end of the day, and the Wii U, I mean, they're doing good now, but they didn't really advertise it as much either.
This is what
Okay, but okay, check this out. Check this out. Okay, the Wii sold over 3 million in like 45 days. Why still no developers wanted to develop games for it? They was just backing out, or they just wasn't announcing games. Like people was looking for, Black Ops, and you like, is it coming to the Wii U? They would never say it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like over 3 million, Wii U's sold like that, and they're not saying if it's coming. And then, like 2 months before the game come out, oh yeah, it's coming. Like, why didn't you just announce it when you announced the 360 and PS3 version and the PC version? Like, why are you making us wait? And there was a lot of games like that. Like, why are they hesitating to say it's coming?
It's based off numbers again. I mean, I don't have the MPDs in front of me though, but how many copies of Call of Duty did they sell on the Wii?
But that's what he's saying. Like, okay, they're making a copy. They're making a version of Call of Duty, right?
Like, hype them up already, right?
Why wait for forever? Like 2 months later, right? When people could have been out pre-order and getting their money together, or whatever, or at least getting the notion, hey, this game is coming out for the Wii U. I want it on the Wii U, so I'm gonna get it there. But if you wait till 2 months later and then someone already done made up their mind, oh, it's not coming, so I get it somewhere else. Well, you just lost customers for that certain platform. It was almost like it was on purpose.
Yeah, because they was doing a lot of games like that. Because a lot of people, especially like on YouTube, they was like, "Oh, this game ain't coming to Wii U," because they ain't even announced it. And you had the fanboys on Nintendo like, "Oh, it's coming," and then the game didn't come, or it did come, but they said it like months down the line. I'm like, if you know you're gonna have this game to come, just announce it when you announce the other ones. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like with Watch Dogs, I was interested in Watch Dogs, and I was like, you know what? I want to get it for the Wii U because I thought, being a developer, maybe you're gonna do a little something with the gamepad with the hacking. Because I'm like, okay, the main focus of this game is hacking. I can see that being done on the Wii U gamepad, like Batman. That'd be cool. So I'm like, I'm gonna get it for the Wii U. I'm not gonna worry about the 360 and the PS3 version. And then they say, well, you know what? We're gonna hold off on the Wii U version. And then as time went on before the game come out, I knew you was bullshitting with the Wii U copy. So guess what? I didn't buy it for either console because I wanted it for a specific console. But then you bullshitted with that console. You know what I'm saying, and bring it out for the other ones. So, and then gonna tell me to wait 6 months later to get the game, and you really didn't do nothing to it.
So it didn't sell well, I guess.
I'd be surprised if it sold 500 copies.
Yeah, so I get what you're saying when third parties delay games, but let's say if the game came out at the same time, do you think it will sell well on the Wii U still? Is he there or
no? All dirty there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll try to ask a question. Like, if the game came out at the same time, do you think it'll still sell well on the Wii U versus the other platforms?
I think the other platforms probably would sold more, but you have to give like a game like that time, because if I'm a third party and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna put this game on the Wii U. And you already making up your mind, if this game doesn't sell, this one game doesn't sell, then it's like I'm done, or I'm gonna pick and choose what I want to put on the console. You know what I'm saying? You have to wait, because I remember like Assassin's Creed, the first Assassin's Creed was like a sleeper hit. Like, I love the first Assassin's Creed. Nobody was really talking about it. Like, people I knew, they didn't talk about it. I didn't hear that much. But when 2 years later, when Assassin's Creed 2 started coming around and people started seeing what they can do in Assassin's Creed, that's when the buzz of Assassin's Creed took off, was with 2, never with 1. I don't know how much 1 sold, but a lot of people on my friends list was not playing Assassin's Creed 1. People was asking me, hey, how that game is? I'm like, man, this game is good. It's really, really good. It's a different type of game. But you didn't really hear about Assassin's Creed until Assassin's Creed 2 until now. That's the buzz that hit, was Assassin's Creed 2. So what if Ubisoft was like, you know what, Assassin's Creed 1 didn't even really do that well on these 2 platforms. Fuck it, we ain't making no sequel. No, they stuck with it. And look how many sequels we got. We got like 10 of them in one generation.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know then, man. I mean, I'm just going based off what I'm seeing. Like, they did like
My, yeah, I mean, my whole thing, I just want to know what happened from, you know, E3 2012 when, Activision, EA, and Ubisoft came up on stage and was praising the Wii U and the controller until now. Like, what transitioned in between that time until now that third party is like backing away and at first they was like praising it. Even Bethesda was like, the controller is awesome, the things we can do with it, and EA talking about Battlefield and Madden, and I'm like, what happened?
it's gotta be a
Like,
money thing. If Nintendo ain't paying them to make these games, they ain't gonna, they're not gonna do it. So it's gotta be a money thing, and that's one thing that won't be discussed. I
true.
mean, it has to be because like I'm with you on that one. Madden would go perfect with that gamepad, especially if you're playing with like 2-player local,
Yep.
because you can have all your plays right there on your pad or whatever. Boom, done. It'll work, but it's not out. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's any real sports games on the Wii U, is there?
Just some like 2-year-old games like what was it, Madden 12 and
NBA 2K.
soccer, FIFA. What was it, FIFA 13, 2K13?
Yeah, cause see on the gamepad you can make plays. Like let's say you pay Madden, you do a play, and then you know the defense is different. Well, you can just draw a route that you want your guy to go to, and then hike the ball. It can work.
Yeah.
They do something similar to on the Dreamcast, and it worked out pretty well.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Dreamcast.
And I still have my Dreamcast hooked up
Yeah.
in my bedroom.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it in my studio, dude. Oh god, it's just fucking classic. Yeah, it's just like they need to utilize what's there, but it's got to be a money thing. I mean, like if Nintendo's not giving these companies money to develop a game, then they're like, why bother?
And that's why I was telling everybody. I think that's the main thing. What you just hit on was money, because even Iwata said, he said if we go in our pockets to pay these third parties, he said we'll wind up like the other two companies, which he didn't say Sony and Microsoft. He just said the other two companies like they do. He said we will never stop going in our pockets, and you can see the results of the other ones. Yeah, they have to go in their pockets to get most of these third party games. But it's making us gamers happy because we getting a bunch of games that that's not on Nintendo platform. But at the end of the day, is these other two companies, are they going broke? Trying to keep us happy. You know what I'm saying? To get these exclusive deals and exclusive DLC for 2 months. I mean, is it worth it?
Nah, because like in not to make this podcast go any longer, because you're probably hitting like almost 3 hour
Yeah,
mark.
we're about ready to end it.
but it's the perfect example with the PS3. The PS3 had the most exclusives, right? Console-wise, it had the most exclusives. But at the same time, like, did all of them sell well? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to tell some people now, it's like having a lot of exclusives makes sound nice, but how many people are actually buying these exclusives? You know what I mean? Like if you have 100 exclusives, but only like 20 of them hit 1 million sales, what's the point having the other 80? You know what I mean? So like the Sony is kind of hurting from last generation still. They put a lot of money in these big exclusives, and a lot of them probably didn't sell well. And that's probably their way of, I guess, still having that exclusive trend is going with the indies. Because why? Because they're cheaper to cost. They're cheaper to fund. I'm sorry, versus giving some AAA studio or some other studio the money to do it. It's cheaper to give it to an indie studio, of like No Man's Sky, like 4 people. It's easier to pay them money versus paying some other bigger studio to make a AAA title for yourself. The Nintendo has it right, he did say it right, why give money to these other companies if we can produce our own game? But at the same time, they create these droughts, and you gotta wait months, 3-4 months till another title comes out from them, and us people like the game don't like to wait that long. So having a Nintendo console as your main console may not be the best choice. Just my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I always say if you got a Wii U, go pick up a PS4 or Xbox One as a second console.
Or a PC. Don't forget about that.
That too. That too.
If you're a
I mean,
gamer,
you got a
never stick with
PC.
one console.
If you got a PC, I guess you don't need the other three.
Yeah, but I mean, the PC doesn't have a whole bunch of RPGs, which is something I like to play. So, but they have a whole lot, but some of the franchises I like aren't on PC. So,
But another argument, I don't want to make this podcast any longer, but did you spend $400 to play indie games?
me,
Yeah.
I paid $400 to play games. So
Like indie games, or did you want more AAA games?
it don't matter to me, man, because like
That's a certain game.
I'm gonna say this live. Grand Theft Auto is not my game. Grand Theft Auto 5 did not like it. So it don't matter to me if it's AAA, 1A, or Triple Z. If the game's fun, I'll play it. It don't matter to me because I spent over now, if I tally it up, maybe like close to $1,300 on my PC recently, and I've been having a blast playing the free-to-play games and some of the indie titles on it. I mean, it don't matter to me. So
Well, most gamers though, like they did not pay $400 to play. I think if you've seen games like Oddball and Backgammon, just stupid little games like that, and let me just name some of these games like.
Well, at that they got to question their hobby and what they want to do. Do they want to play games or play names? I mean, because having a AAA game does not mean it's going to be good. Not at all.
Well, that's true. I do agree with that. That's true.
Look, just look at Unity from a AAA studio.
Yeah.
It was a piece of shit. I mean, like I hate to use that language, but it's crap. I mean, and then you have a free to play game like Warframe that's on PC and PS4 and has nowhere near as many glitches as that game does. So to me, it doesn't matter how much money the studio has. Just as long as the game functions correctly and you enjoy it, So that's how I look at it. Because I don't play the AAA thing. I'll buy a game if nobody ever heard of it. I mean, as long as it's good.
Well, but you're more of like a hardcore you're like, I'm saying like the average consumer.
Yeah.
The average consumer is going to walk into a store. They're going to be like, okay, the Unfinished Swan. That looks like a great game. The Lone Survivor, Space Brawl. Okay, now I'm looking at Far Cry 4, The Evil Within.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. But I'll just give you my opinion though. But I know what you mean. The average gamer, it's not interested in a $15 game. I guess you could say, yeah.
I mean, at least Nintendo, I have to give Nintendo that. They got that shit on lock. You go buy a Nintendo game, you're going to get a full quality fucking game. You're going to get a Metroid. It's going to be top of the line. It's not. They do got indies. I'm not saying they don't, but they're not pushing their console. But it is what it is. League of Winning joined, but we'll talk after the podcast. I can't keep this thing going any longer. But I appreciate everybody joining. Old Dirty as always.
No problem, Dave.
J-Bot, is that your name?
J-Got. Yeah, thanks for the invite, bro.
Come back next week. Thanks, man. Do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah. It's under my old name, which is Just Incredible one, but yeah.
Okay. All right. King Grumpachi as always.
Yo, thanks.
Corrupt Gamer, which is Brike. Is that what your name was? Maybe so. Corrupt Gamer, thank you for joining. I think he's on a break. Levon as always.
Thank you.
Levon's on a break. And League of Winning, I wish you were here earlier. Thank you for joining.
No problem.
All right, guys. Till next time.